Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are around the world. Yes, we are finally back. It is season 3 of the league by Foxxtecca. Me, Tristan and Jim have been counting down the days till we'll be back in your living rooms, offices, wherever you are sat watching this fantastic bit of racing. Good evening, I'm Matthew Duffin, joined in the commentary box by Tristan Herbst and our producer, Jim Cunningham. We might be joined by Chris Harris once again throughout the season. But welcome back. It is Spa-Francorchamps for round number 1 of what looks to be an absolute belter of a series. We've got European circuits. We head to South America and we end the championship in the United States for 4 back-to-back races of US fantastic circuits we've got on offer today as well. Tristan, a very good evening to you. It's been a while, but season 3 is finally here.
Yeah, I mean, when we say we've been counting the days, I've literally been sending a GIF for every single week that we count down towards season number 3, and we finally get to embark on the day, or rather say the early morning for myself and Matthew. A different time zone for Jim in the production box, but for us in the UK and South Africa, we get to wake up very early morning for the series. But I've got to tell you, from both of our experiences from season number 2, it is 100% worth it. Season number 3 is going to present a whole new world of challenges, 8 of the best tracks like we saw in our preview trailer, and a couple of really good technical tracks that are going to test our drivers. We've obviously got our AM and pros that are going to be racing tonight in 2 separate splits, because that's the kind of quality you get to expect here at the league by Foxxtecca. And the Spa-Francorchamps as the starting round, a good old inaugural iconic round that we get to start the GT3s on, and I cannot wait for those gantry lights to go off, because we have got a heaped field and a couple of new drivers embarking as well, Matthew.
Couple of new drivers and a returning name, although not the same first name. If you'll remember back to season 2, Maya Dianarine was the man who dominated the field in season 2. Well, the same name is there in this AM Championship, but it's his younger brother. Can the younger brother, Tristan, take the glory like his older brother did last season?
Yeah, we've got Declan in here, Declan Denarin. He's coming in to switch out for Maya. Obviously, Maya's gotten that sweet and spicy promotion up to the pros, so we'll see him a little bit later tonight competing with the big dogs. But one thing to remember, if you did watch season 2 of the League by Foxxtecca, is that the AM racing presented just as much entertainment as the pros, so do not let that stamp define what the racing looks like, because it is still an entire heap of fun that we get to watch. And I mean, we've also got the standings, I believe, from last season that we get to also preview, because like we mentioned, Maya Dianarine did take the win there for the AMs. Caden Parks-Miller, he still remains in that AM championship, so he's going to be a strong contester. Same with Jeremy Carroll and Alex Alex Russell, but he's now just put his actual surname, so that's Alex Russell Blanco, followed by Troy Anderson, also a very strong contender from what we remember, Matthew, and then Andre Saba. Evan Davis is there, Zachary Battaglia, Kingston Mullings was also quite a young gun who's come up the ranks and really starting to improve over time. We've then obviously got Pierre Valencia and Clayton Sanchez, Shelton Lewis, Julian Reyes, Jesse Laverin, Aaron Sunday, Kamari Odom, Dalen Harrison, and Saul Garza for those 18 spots in the championship. Most of them returning, which is lovely to see.
It's great to see, along with a whole host and a heap of new names, and 2 that catches my eye, and more from a personal level, Ramsey Jimenez and Tanner Kneebone takes the grid, but a whole host of new names out there as well that should be fantastic to see some great racing action. We've got returning Paul Collishaw, who I know was a livery of your favourite choice last season in that Porsche. Lewis Holloway, like you said, Kamari Odom. We've also got, I do believe, the youngster of Landon Batson, 8 years of age now as well, obviously a year older since he was last on the league by Foxxtecca, so it is going to be a huge night of racing action, and we're better to start it than the historical circuit in the middle of the Ardennes forest of Spa-Francorchamps, which I can't seem to escape on commentary at this moment. I've literally just finished a broadcast there an hour and a half ago. I did 2 broadcasts here last week. I can't escape Spa at the moment, Tristan, but either way, this is going to be a fantastic night, and yeah, great to see season 3 finally back underway. We are into qualifying. We are 6 minutes into the 15-minute session. Remember that qualifying does end on the 50 minutes on the dot mark, so that's going to be key to make sure your last final laps are in before that 15-minute mark ends, because we will then complete our qualifying session. And the other thing to mention as well, I've just noticed on the timing tower the Zimbabwe flag on the screen. It's great to still have that whole host of nationalities on the field.
I was actually just about to cue that one as well, is the fact that we've got an entire new continent racing with us for season number 3, with an introduction to the Pro and the AM class. Obviously, here in the AMs, we've got Manoto coming in from Zimbabwe. He currently sits in 11th. And then also we've got an Egyptian in the Pro class over Met Ohm, who's joined in. So another in the African continent. It's great to see the share just expanding every season. We go on a Foxxtecca, and we always mention how important the diversity is. Oh, she's actually in the AMs. Apologies about that. So we've got both of them here in the AM class, both of the two African continent drivers. But one thing, if you have watched the previous season, how much we emphasize the level of diversity here at the league by Foxxtecca, and it's just it's continuously expanding, Matthew. I mean, season 4 we're probably going to see a couple more. Imagine an Antarctic driver. I don't think that they exist, but that would be something the league by Foxxtecca could predict. You never know. For the time being, Evan Davis, a very strong contender from season number 2, pops himself up on pole to 17.2. It was Troy Anderson setting up on pole. He was quite steady ahead of the rest, but as everybody gets their laps in now, he is being pushed down. There we see Ahmed Ohm, she's up into 3rd. Vegard Hendrickson gets himself up into 2nd as well. So very competitive top pack, but look who's in 4th there as well, Matthew, is someone who we've already been talking about in previous seasons about his improvement. It's Kingston Mullings, another one of the young guns here in the league by Foxxtecca, and he's really finding the grips in that Mustang tonight.
And we've said it, haven't we? Seasons gone by, Kingston Mulling seems to be getting better and better and better every time we see him out there. So it's great to see Kingston running up in P4 at the moment, and only just over 1/10 of a second off of that provisional pole time. So not a lot of time to find for Kingston out there at this moment in time. We're on board with him coming through Puon at the moment as they head on the short run down towards Piff Paff. He's going to be one to really watch this season, Kingston Mullings, like you said, with Caden Parks Miller and a few of the returning names, as well as seeing the likes of Ahmed Ohm, Evan Davis, Ramsey Jimenez, people like that can do in terms of getting their cars to the front. Can they mix it with the drivers who's been on Foxxtecca for the last 2 seasons?
Yeah, definitely so. So, I mean, that's what we're talking about, is that top 10 is going to be dangerously competitive. But like we say, the more competitive, the better the racing is going to be. Ryan Woodside, another one of the young guns we were just talking about as well. A little bit further down in 17th in the Corvette. That's a new attempted car that he's got going over there. 14th for one of our new drivers. That's going to be Owen Bourgoin, who gets himself up in the Mercedes. So he's also finding traction around the track. Another new driver up in 11th. It's Gorbatenko, and he gets himself there into 11th spot. So a couple of the new drivers starting to find their traction around circuit. And let's have a look. But I believe, Matthew, we've got a track map coming up for all those who don't know what Spa looks like. I think at this point everyone should know what Spa looks like. But take us away and show that virtual grandstand what the track is for tonight that we get to race on.
Indeed it is. Well, if you don't know what Spa looks like and you didn't see the 24-hour at the weekend, here it is in the heart of the Ardennes Forest, Spa-Francorchamps, here in Belgium. Belgium's most iconic circuits and one of the world's most iconic circuits, with one of the world's most famous corners. As you come down the start-finish straight with a beautiful grandstand on the left-hand side, you head through turn 1 of La Source, making your way to 2, 3 and 4 of El Rouge and Radion. Going to be very keen to see what happens there on lap 1. Down the Kemmel straight you come, a good long straight, chance to make a move into 5 and 6 of that of Lecombe. A beautiful right to left chicane that's almost mid-speed. It's just on that lower side of a mid-speed chicane. As you come through 7, you dip downhill to the hairpin of turn number 8, where it's very easy to just run slightly deep. You come through turn 9 of No Name before heading down a good straight towards that of turn number 10, that of Puon. The double left-hander, really long corner, patient on the throttle on the entry before finding the accelerator and blasting out of what is turn 11 then. 12 and 13, Piff Paff. Again, another chicane, almost type chicane of medium speed through the first right-hander, just carrying some speed through into 13 and getting that short little blast down to 14 and 15 of Stavelot. 2 corners that aren't really known for their overtaking, but can be known for where you can lose a lot of time, but also gain a lot of time. You come out of 15, you come all the way down this stretch into 16 and 17 of Blanchimont. A chance to really set up the driver now as you want to power as fast as you can, flat out almost, through Blanchimont of 17 in towards 18 and 19 of the bus stop chicane, where can you be the brave last of the late breakers? Can you hold it around the outside? Can you set yourself up for a run down to turn 1? But that is Spa-Francorchamps and a lap of what could be the most enjoyable thing in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a reason that we get to see so much GT World Challenge and WEC racing here on longer periods of time around the track. It is just naturally built for good long racing. And, we still get somewhat of that with the hour-long races you get to experience here at Foxxtecca. It's plenty of time for the drivers to find themselves, familiar themselves with the track and they gain the traction against their competitors. So it's a good amount of time that we get to present to our virtual grandstand. As we see Vegard Hendrickson, I believe he's also got a bit of an Abruzzi sponsorship up front there. It's good to see a bit of a range of the sponsorships all over the cars. But in terms of sponsorships, it's also good to mention all the sponsors that have made this possible here at the League by Foxxtecca, live on Apex Racing TV. Roasted Records back, unfortunately, Matthew. I think they forgot what our postal addresses were. I haven't seen anything on my doorstep yet. I needed some of that jet fuel for tonight, but unfortunately, maybe next season, maybe season number 4. African American Automotive Association, they've been here with us since season number 2 and continuing to extend that stride. Dakins Designs, a couple of the drivers out on the track will be rocking those Dakins Designs, so keep your eyes out. Foxxtecca is all about good liveries. There's even a livery prize at the end of the season, so to make sure you put your pick in the virtual grandstand, because the all factor is also included towards the end of the season. Superlap's also here. I'm not too sure if they've got a team running still, but we'll probably see it in the pro classes. They do run that in the pro class, the legendary Golden Pigeons. I mean, the Golden Falcons, like we saw from season number 3. And let's hope we get to see them again. But that's our amazing sponsor, all that we get to watch. And obviously, you're watching live on Apex Racing TV for the coverage of season number 3. And boy, I cannot wait for it. It's only 1 more minute left around about until the end of qualifying. And then we head into that gantry light start of Spa-Francorchamps.
We've not even got out of qualifying and we've already got back to the season 1 and 2 banter of the Golden Pigeons, which is actually opposite the Golden Falcon, and I love it. It's back. Foxxtecca is back. We've missed you all so much. There is one of the Golden Falcons of the Superlap team there on board with Herschel, running in the Ford Mustang. Not used to seeing it look so, the Falcon looks so big on the side of the car, and it's actually just behind
the Eagle.
The Gold Eagle. It's actually just behind one of the cars that I've already I might be a little biased this season, but it's the car behind it's one that I've already got down as livery of the season, 1 of 2 potential ones. But yeah, we are a minute away from qualifying, and it looks like Davis looks like he's going to be on for this pole position here, because Vegard Hendrickson is into the pits now. Omet Om is currently out there on a lap. Can she get that 2 and a bit tenths of a second that she needs to work her way onto that front row of the grid? We'll see if there's any movers and shakers, as we're seeing that Tannen Ebone's crossing the line down in 27th. He doesn't improve. Sandy Gamara is in 36th, finds an improvement to move up to 34th. Tristan Vincent improves on his time and goes up to 14th as the session is done. Yeah, I mentioned it at the top of the programme and completely forgot myself. But it's Evan Davis on pole. We'll get you the full classified grid order in just a few moments' time. I believe the forecast looks dry for today. Fortunately, because when I was looking at the live weather earlier on, there was some rain around. So I think this the race time has missed the rain and should stay dry throughout the entire evening.
Yeah, let's hope so. That will be good. It's a bit of a difficult one to start the season off in the wet. There's your standings. It is indeed Evan Davis starting it up on top, the number 24. Vegard Hendrickson in second, just behind with Omed Ohm in third position. Bully Girls, what a name. Troy Anderson, the number 44 car, in fourth position. Kingston Mullings into fifth position. Caden Parks Miller, the second place runner-up in season number 2. He starts sixth, with Alex Russell Blanco down seventh. Costine Havdal down 8th position. Andre Saba 9th, with Andrew Herschel in 10th position. Ramsey Jimenez is 11th, and then Alex Altericio will take 12th.
Indeed, he will. Nick Dawson-Lathan will be in P13 with Tristan Vincent in 14th place. Now, I've got to check my notes. We've been sent over some notes by Tristan today. That is Dan Gorbatenko in 15th place. Drew Metcalf is in 16th from Bowie Suin, 17th place. And I believe this is another one. Owen Borgwin is in 18th. Paul Collishaw from Dominic Amaro. Shelton Lewis alongside Colin Finn in 21st and 22nd. And then it's Anton Schopler alongside the returning driver of Lewis Holloway.
And I think we still got more there. Yeah, we do. Alan Ware down 25th. Declan Deanarine, the brother of the AM champion in season number 2. He's got a lot of expectation to follow. Tanner Kneebone, 27, with Rain Woodside down 28th position. Julian Race down 29th, and then 30th. And this is going to be a name we're going to learn to pronounce over the league, but I believe it is Munisueshe Manoto in 30th, with Nicholas Larasso 31st. Bartosz Paczynski down 32nd. Ken Majori 33rd. And then Uven Sanderigama 34th. Caden Coolidge in 35th, with Peyton May down in 36, and I'm not sure if that is our entire grid. No, it's not. I'll quickly finish us off here at Samuel Patty with John Smallwood, Randy Olivo, Jeremy Alvarado, Landon Batson down 41st, Andon Santiago Lopez, followed by Oliver Sigfuson, with Alexis Barrington, another returning driver, down 44th, Kamari Odom 45th, Jimmy Carroll and Archie Woods to rock off the 47 car grid. My goodness, Matthew, we have got a lot on our plate tonight.
We've got a lot on our plate tonight. We've got a lot on our plate this season. I'll quickly run through the calendar. We're at Spa-Francorchamps tonight for Format A, hour-long race. We then head to Algarve, Portimao for the 7th of July, again, Grand Prix circuit, Format A. We then go to the Canadian Mosport circuit on the 14th of July, Format A. Interlagos, get in. So looking forward to that one. That's Format B. That'll be 2 races. Road America, full, Format B. Sebring International, Format B. VIR full circuit Format A, and we end the season on the 18th of August at St. Pete for Format A. But it is green and go for the first race of season 3 in the Amateur Championship, and what a start from the pole sitter. Evan Davis already getting away nice and clean. Ahmet Om as well has just dipped a wheel into the gravel, and a spinner there, and that is Vigard Henriksen, who is tumbling down the standings at the moment as they go down the order with a spin all on their own. Through the first corner of La Source. Into the midfield we go though. Dominic Amaro is looking to make up some places. They all come up El Rouge and Radion for the first time as every car tries to creep their way up. Remember, the most important thing about this season is this is a fixed setup championship, so it's all about the driver and sometimes the car on the circuit, as Rossell Blanco looking to go around the outside of the Corvette, of the Corvette on that inside line. And has Rosso Blanco got the move done? Believe he has, and moves up another place.
Yeah, a couple of people dropping the Collishaw Shopler, a couple of them in the backside also just continuously dropping off the grid. I don't know what happened there to Ahmet Ohm and Vegard Hendrickson on launch, just completely off from Evan Davis. He got over a second launch even before La Source at the starting of the track, so not too sure what happened behind, whereas we do have an Acura off on the backside there, off onto the gravel. He's got to rejoin and watch out, but currently it is Russell with Mullings side by side through Pouon. They go, nice and clean racing that we got to witness there, and looks like they've managed it well. But now joining that party is a livery I've already spotted, is a very nice one, and it's Troy Anderson's faded Corvette, just coming behind with that beautiful teal coloring. He's now pushing on the backside of Kingston Mullings. You've got to watch out for him. He's a strong contender and a comeback king from season number 2. The number 44 is going to be pushing on strong from behind. The figures on the left-hand side, timing towers, all between orange and yellow. A couple of whites, but that's okay. But the orange and yellow is what you love to see in racing, because it means that there are imminent overtakes possible throughout the lap, as we do see a bit of a blip coming in there from Troy Anderson. Although I'm not seeing it. There he is, he's back, so it's all good. Thankfully, the blips will happen here and there, but it's not permanent. Because now we see another one, our new drivers, Dominic Amaro. He's currently in a bit of a pack here. This is almost going to be 3 wide, coming down into the bus stop chicane. Can they all brake at the correct marker? And it looks like everybody's been able to manage it. And so far, a pretty clean lap for lap number 1, as we do come to the end of it. And most of our drivers keeping the car pointed forwards.
Yeah, most of the drivers keeping the cars pointing forwards, and you got an Audi at the start of season 2. I get an Acura for the start of season 3, so the Acura out there looking beautiful as well, might I add, as Evan Davis leading the way by over a second and a half. Great start for him. I'm noticing that we've got a few drivers in the pit. Samuel Patty, Caden Coolidge is into the pit lane as well. Vigard Henriksen and Alexis Barrington into the pits. We didn't get Archie Woods or Declan Dionorine start this race. They are not on track. This is what has happened to the BMW of Samuel Patty then in towards the bus stop chicane. And all nicely so far, just drove into the pit lane. So in came him and is that the McLaren? I do believe it, possibly Randy Olivo. Yeah, he's into the pit lane as well. But no Archie Woods, no Declan Dionorine at the start of this race as we head back to... Oh no, this is another replay. This is Alexa Barrington then coming up through Eau Rouge. Bit of a break mid-corner. Oh, gets collected in the rear by what looks to be one of the other McLarens, and stops out there and returns to the garage. So not the start to race that Alexa would have been wanting out there in this race. Back to the live action though. Evan Davis 2 seconds out front almost from that of Omet Om, who is doing pretty well, over a second clear of Caden Parks-Miller, our runner-up last season.
Yeah, and she's kind of chosen one of the more difficult cars here in the GT3 pickup slot that she could have gotten. Not the best BOP running for that V10 Lamborghini as it stands, but the Egyptian driver doing all that she can, currently sitting in second and pushing as strong as possible to keep Parks-Miller and Alex Russell. And if you remember from Season 2, both of these drivers highly competitive. They had a couple of bashes between each other, so let's hope they can keep it clean for the start of season number 3. Almost a little bit of a grass push there for Altericio. He's just behind Jimenez, trying to find a bit of a gap here, but it is highly competitive on lap number 2 here of this race for the AMs. And looking up on the inside, Altericio, is he going for the dive? I don't think he's got the space, and he's going to jump back in the queue, making sure not to do something a little bit too risky, and continues the drive. Just behind him is obviously Vincent and Metcalf. They're also chasing on as it stands. A little bit further back, we've got Nebo and Alan Ware. They're running through there. We've got some of the Simplay branding on the left-hand side. Good to see running in this race. The Aston Martin Vantage, though, receiving the pressure from Minoto and Ware behind, as quite a lot of cars fighting for some of the back positions here. Yeah, we see Shopler just on the outside there with his honeycomb BMW. He's trying to push up in front of the maroon car there of Minoto as they go down towards Eau Rouge, and this is going to be a little bit of a train coming up. Hopefully the drivers can keep it nice and clean, but so far it's looking good towards the back, and I'm liking the action we get to see split across the grid.
Yeah, some good sports flying there, wasn't there, as they bottomed out coming up Eau Rouge, and a great run here for the Lamborghini, but side by side between that of Andre Saba and that of Andrew Herschel, then through that of the final part of the Lecom complex of this circuit down towards the hairpin, and Saba there stays ahead at the moment. And you mentioned there the Simplay bits on the side of Tanner Kneebone's car. It's like a proud dad moment, that. Not only do I have my own team out there this season, but also my league is sponsoring one of the cars of that of Ramsey, or as we call him, Gordon Jimenez. So yeah, it's like a proud dad moment out there. But the Super Phase car of Herschel, he's not been dropped at the moment by Saab. He's keeping on that pressure. The two Ford Mustangs, and it looks pretty again this season. Once again here, Tristan, it looks very front engine dominant in terms of the car selections, and the Ford Mustang seems to be the most popular choice of car out on that grid. But a good little fight here between Saba, and look at this four-way fight here. This is going down down to 17th place. There's a little bit of contact. The Acura manages to hang on in there and gets ahead of that of the Mercedes-Benz, the Gem Racing car of Owen Borgwin then, who manages to keep it on the road facing the right way. And Shelton, look, it's nice looking sort of pink and blue livery, almost like a bubblegum pink kind of livery there.
Yeah, another attractive one out on the grid. Loving the differentiation we're getting to see here, but so far the competitiveness is not letting down between any of our drivers here as it stands. We got a little bit of a wiggle there from Borgwin. He almost got sent off the track there, but fortunately was able to hold it. A couple of flash coming up from behind there. That's from, I believe, Collishaw or one of the other drivers. There we see Tanner Kneebone obviously on the inside line now, and almost going 3 wide coming up towards La Source now. This could be a little bit competitive as we are seeing a couple of better exits coming from the drivers behind, and we're going to have to see how this is going to work. It is indeed 3 wide almost coming into La Source, and Minoto behind in the BMW. I thought he was in the Lamborghini. Apologies about that confusion. He's in the BM. It's Alan Ware into that BMW. I mean, in the Lamborghini. And Parks-Miller, yeah, like you mentioned, coming up now on Omet. But great defense from Omet, and she covers the inside line coming up out of the Kemmel Straight and now blocking Parks Miller. But the Russell Blanco just on the back end of that one as one. Further behind, we've obviously got the race of the cars racing. It's a dive on the inside by Russell and almost wiping out the backside of Omet's car. But fortunately just able to get it on the brakes, but he has lost the position back yet again from Parks Miller. The two of them, quite a lot of fighting going on, and it's allowing the drivers behind, Mullings, Anderson, and Havdahl, are slowly going to start to catch up. On the inside line, though, goes Russell, and he's going to hold it now. Looks like he's been able to get it legitimately this time, and a great amount of fighting going on in that top four.
Yeah, indeed, and we saw this, didn't we, last season between Russell Blanco and Parks Miller, and now it's gloves off already at the start of Season 3. Biggest mover out there, by the way, Jimmy Carroll, 24th place for the Driver Trainer Motorsport, up 22 spots, absolutely flying is Jimmy Carroll, already on the lights. Oh no, sorry, that's the BMW front, but Jimmy Carroll making moves already. We've got a few others up 10 and 11 places. But Jimmy Carroll, 22 spots in the first 8 minutes of this race is a fantastic start to his season. Obviously, probably not the best of qualifyings that he'd have hoped for, but so far a great race start for him, and he's up 22 spots. Like we say, Oliver Sigfusson up 14 spots as well. Brand new driver to the league by Foxxtecca. There's a couple in the background there just forcing each other off the road and running a little bit wide. So great to see a lot of new names, and great to see them working their way through the field straight away. Anton Schoppler here in the black and purple BMW coming through the Blanchimont left-hander. And here is Sandy Gamara looking pretty good already as well. There is Kamari Odom, who is up 11 in 34th. Oh, big send, yeah, big send!
That started looking dicey. No, you caught that one just at the end of it. And Kamari Odom sticking their nose just up on the inside there, trying to see if there's a potential space. Now looking all over the backside of Julian Race to see if there's something. And on the outside, Julian Race very slow into La Source, and now side by side going down towards Arouge. And Kamari Odom's going to have the outside line with much more speed, and that's going to be an easy overtake to get ahead of the BMW driver from the Gem Racing team. The number 33 is going to have to try work for it, but it's going to be difficult. Yeah, we've got Omet. The pressure is back on. She's lost out to Russell Blanco and now potentially to Parks Miller behind. You can see it's slowly but surely a bit of a gain behind there. And unfortunately, with the battling that's going on here, Matthew, Evan Davis, 4.8 seconds up from the rest of the pack here, and does not look like he's slowing down whatsoever. So he just needs to keep his stride neat and steady, and he's going to have a good race on his hands here. But for the time being, the battle for second is definitely still on. Omet 6/10 away currently from Russell Blanco, and then obviously Parks Miller 2/10 behind. So these three definitely duking it out. Unfortunately, Kingston Mullings has dropped off the top four pack there a little bit, 3.1 seconds. He's got Troy Anderson putting pressures, but you see Herschel and Havdahl, the battle for seventh. They are continuously switching around, and now we see Havdahl on the outside line here, coming up towards the back straight, leading up towards Blanchimont and the bus stops, and he's going to have a little bit better of a run-up on that Ford Mustang. I did see a little bit of a squirreliness there from the Ford Mustang of Herschel exiting onto the main straight here, so we'll have to see if the train's going to be strong enough here for Havdahl and Saber behind to make any kind of provisional moves here. But all of the drivers maintaining the etiquette. 11 minutes in, another 80 minutes left. No, not another 80 minutes. Apologies, math must not incriminate me tonight. 49 minutes left to go, which is still a plenty amount of racing that we get to go on. Before I switch over back, I just want to mention a quick controversial livery that I've got to mention. I mean, Alan Ware is rocking something out of a super modern looking livery. It is so clean yet so simple, and it's a fully maroon Lamborghini with white rims. And Alan Ware currently sitting, I believe, where is he? He's 24th. A fully marooned out Lamborghini, no sponsorship labels or anything like that, and then the white mags. Does that not look... Oh, it's got the Liquid Death sponsorship on the side. Does that not look intimidating in the rear?
It does look intimidating in the rear, and Tannen Ebone best be wary of that one, seeing as he's got my team name on the side of his car. So don't be too intimidated by it, Tanner. You keep your head facing forward, as we've got side by side between Drew Metcalf in the Mercedes-Benz going side by side with that Ford Mustang on the inside line, and that is Amaro Dominic Amaro in the Ford Mustang. They're looking like he's going to make up another place. Still side by side. Oh, Amaro squeezing Metcalf there. Little bit naughty from the Ford Mustang. The Mercedes-Benz of Drew Metcalf had to get out the accelerator there before an incident would have been caused. But, oh no, Rhea snaps, gets it back. Pox Miller has got past Omet on then for that third place. Oh, Omet, she's tumbling down the order. What's happened to Omet? She's off at Pouon, so it's a big off at Pouon. Look at all the gravel on the outside line on the runoff. And now she's coming under pressure from 2 cars, 3 wide. It was never going to work. Who was that off? Spinning around. And now the Ford Mustang's gone. Not a clue what has happened there. I believe it's Vincent who's had a spin. I'm not sure who the other car was. Vincent is out the race. And was it Alteriso then who was dropped out down the timing screen a little bit? Let's take a replay of this. Let's see what happened. So we know Omet is rejoining here. She's a little slow, getting back up to speed. The BMW and the Ford Mustang come across. The BMW just turns across her a little bit and into the wall hard, and even harder with the tyre wall sticking out.
Yeah, that's a hard hit from Tristan Vincent. He's got to take it back to pit row, and I did see he did indeed tow, so that's going to be an unfortunate end to his streak in the 15th. I think, just a little bit too much pressure coming into Pouon, a bit too late on the brakes, and you'll probably see the over-rotation on the rear end from the Lamborghini, and there you see it. She does try and catch it a little bit. It could have been way more catastrophic landing up in those rear barriers, but she caught it, and the gravel trap assisted with that slowdown, and her rejoin was perfectly fine. She rejoined in open space, obviously just being the slightly slower car after the rejoin, and like you say, 3 wide around a slower driver is just never going to work. So unfortunately, that one's a bit of a racing incident. No fault there really to Ahmet Ohm. Tristan Vincent, just a bit of a turn over the nose there that he couldn't really predict with the other Mustang. This is another one here with Drew Metcalf, and I believe this was the fight between himself and another one of the drivers. I'm pretty sure the order has switched around now. It looks like, yeah, that's the Acura there. It's a little bit of a bump coming onto the exit of the bus stop chicane. Nothing too out of the ordinary, though, and both drivers still facing forward. That's Dawson Lathan just up in front in the Acura. I have just heard Jim saying the iconic uh-oh, which means that someone has had a bit of an incident, and this is Owen Borgwin. This is coming up towards, I believe, the bus stop chicane. That Mercedes looks like it's missing a rear wing. Yeah, it is. He's already had a bit of an incident somewhere. This is just him coming back to the pit lane. I wonder what's happened to Borgwin. And here we got the quick replay to see what happened. That looks like he's lost the rear, and that's a hard one. Oh, it's a capsize. Okay,
it's dug into the gravel there. So as it's come across the gravel trap, it's dug in a little bit. So it just squeezes the BMW on the inside. The car digs into the gravel. Over she goes, and for Owen Baldwin there then. He's got to get that one back to the pit lane, which he did, as we saw on the earlier replay. So, yeah, strange incident for Owen there, but he hopefully can get back out onto the circuit a little later on. So it's Davis, Russell Blanco, Parks Miller, Mullings, Herschel, Anderson, Havdahl, Saba, Jimenez on your top 10 at this moment in time. And this is Havdahl at the moment, defending that inside line from the Mustang. Ramsey Jimenez a day late and $1 short there, and straight into the back. That's coming out his paycheck, I reckon.
Yeah, I saw a bumper flying off there coming into the bus stop, and as you can see, that is indeed Jimenez just a bit further behind now. He's just gotten the nose completely scraped off coming into the bus stop chicane. I was going to say something about that capsize. That's actually not something out of the ordinary at Foxxtecca. I mean, it happened in season 2, I believe, to Komari Odom. So it's not something we haven't seen on the league. Here's the incident with Andre Saba. Jimenez, that is a massive leap. And a little bit too late on the brakes. Unfortunately, nothing that the Mustang driver could do. You saw Saba try to give the space and go a little bit wide, but not really much you can do. And Jimenez using him as a bit of a bumper block, knocking into the side of him, and that's going to remove the bumper of the Mercedes. And we do have Paolo Scalmani, apologies about that, asking in our virtual grandstand, when is Pro Class going to be racing. That is coming up just after the AM race as well, accompanied with a short ad break. So give it also until the end of this race, add an additional 15 minutes, and then you get to see the pros as Alex Altericio goes for a dive onto the inside of the hairpin. And what a great clean move that was on the inside of Dawson Lath. An incredible move there coming from the Mustang driver.
I have to tip my hat. What a move that was. Sold the dummy, an absolute peach there for Alteriso in that one. Absolutely sold the dummy, going into the hairpin and dived up the inside. I thought for one stage, Tristan, that they were surely going to miss the hairpin and run deep, but no, through they go. And a little fun fact, we saw Ramsey on the camera there, Ramsey Jimenez. He actually is on a platformed sim rig, so he's got a computer chair on a platformed sim rig that he built, or his dad built for him. So he sits quite high up compared to what would be next to him, normally his brother, who sits on the floor on a really low down sim rig. So interesting to see the difference. And this platform is not a small one neither. I believe it's got a few steps leading up to it. So yeah, day late for dollar short for Ramsey, but great move for Alteriso in the Ford Mustang as we move forward. There he is, and he's a couple. Yeah, he's quite high off the floor, and it's a shame his brother's chair's not there to show how low down his brother actually sits. But yeah, Ramsey there, he'll be disappointed with himself with that move as he's coming into the pits to repair the damage in this race. Now, one thing I do actually need to just cast my eye over, pit stops in this hour-long race, are they still a thing? Because if I remember rightly, wasn't the fuel tank limited last season so much?
Yeah, I believe we had a 65% cap on the tank last season. Obviously, it might have changed a bit. Guilty as charged. I didn't exactly read through that part of the rulebook. Is it the same? So 65%. So 60. That gives a little bit of 60%. All right. So that gives a little bit of hope then to Jimenez, because it means that everyone still has to technically come and pit. So he can use that to fill up the car. Although I don't know if the 60% at this point is going to get him to the end of the race. That's the concern here, because it is quite an early pit stop, being 20 minutes in. Here comes a potential overtake as well. The man who's basically consumed the entire grid, 29 positions up, Jimmy Carroll, wants to add to that toll. It's a dive on the inside. This is going to be bad. Oh no, my goodness. Yeah. And there's the contact. And unfortunately, too late for the number 47. That is Shelton Lewis, who receives the knock on the back end side of the Mercedes. The bubblegum Mercedes, unfortunately, finds himself in a sticky situation, being left underneath the table. And that is super unfortunate for Shelton Lewis. He's going to have to try and recover this one. It's a hard work backup. Tannen Eburns just up in front in 20th. There's a battle there. So Lewis has got a little bit of a battle up in front to try and recover that position.
Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, in the virtual grandstand, we're here for another 2.5 hours and for another 7 more weeks after this. So don't go anywhere, because Tristan's got more jokes right up his sleeve in this one. But what? Tannen Eburns. He was at Paul Collishaw as well. You liked the livery of Paul Collishaw last season, I believe, from a Counter-Strike inspired livery. It is the same livery, so there we go. But yeah, contact down into P1 and misses the corner there. But yeah, a bit of contact between the two as Tannen Eburns still now coming under pressure from Julian Rees in this little fight now. That's obviously with Tanner slow to rejoin the circuit, obviously after that off. And the Gem Racing BMW M4 of Rees here is coming through to just try and put some pressure on. But Tanner now will be back up to racing speed and will hopefully be able to fend that one off as they come through the field. Going back to that Jimmy Carroll incident up at Le Combe, 3 wide going into there is difficult at the best of times, but making it 3 wide with a bit of a lunge was always going to end up in an incident, wasn't it? Jimmy Carroll, yes, has made plenty of places through the field, but just needs to just calm down a little bit. I think we could take a replay of what happened. Look, he gets an almighty launch through Radion and a great double slipstream almost. The 2 Ford Mustangs start to pounce on the Mercedes that goes back to its racing line, and he possibly would have made that corner just about, maybe a little bit off the apex, but just got to calm down a little bit. First race of the season, find your feet, find your rhythm. Yes, you've gained a lot of places early in this race, but just settle in.
Yeah, exactly. We've got someone in the virtual grandstand telling us to back off of naming him the Bubblegum Mercedes. And just to let you know, whoever it is in the virtual grandstand, it's a very good thing when we nickname a car's livery, because it means that it's on our list for one of the best. So we mean absolutely no offense to it. It's actually a beautiful livery with the pink and blue. And the nicknames just add to the fun of the league by Foxxtecca. We've also got a couple of shout-outs going around. Potato Tot, can we give a shout out to Dom Amaro, first race and currently up in 10th position, and also 10 positions up on the grid. So Dom Amaro, brand new to the league by Foxxtecca, and that's doing a pretty good job up in 10th. Peyton May, also a new driver, I believe, starting a little bit further down on the grid towards the backside. And currently they sit in, I've got to look, in 31st position, 5 positions up as well. So lots of our newer drivers really starting to find a couple of good spots on the grid here. 22 minutes in, the racing has been absolutely on fire so far for these first 22 minutes. Troy Anderson back on board with him. He's currently 2 positions down behind Herschel and Mullings. And he's been fighting here for a while, hasn't he, Matthew? Really trying to get that Corvette up there, but just not finding the traction with the 2 Mustangs up in front.
Very, very close here to the back of the Ford Mustang. And I was just about to say before he did that, he seems to be sitting patient and waiting. That didn't look very patient going in towards the bus stop chicane as the Mustang of Herschel in front of them looks to make a move to the outside line of Kingston Mullings, trying to find a way right around the outside. This could be Anderson's opportunity in the Corvette. Does it get it done? I did. Me and Tristan, they've both been tagged by Sam Fitzpatrick, obviously works for Apex Racing, saying that I don't think Jimenez can get to the end. 35 minutes will sort of be the standard stint length. So if you're pitting before that 35-minute mark, you're in a world of trouble. So it looks like Jimenez, who pitted early, and for those who else who have pitted early, may have to splash and dash at the end of this race. As here comes Andrew Herschel to the outside of Lecombe. Will make it the inside for the second pot. Breaks early, backs out of that one. Oh, run compromised by Kingston Mullins there, who just took the entry a little bit wrong, caught a wheel on the gravel, slowed him right down. But what he did beautifully there, almost touring car style, was he held the apex of the corner and just made the others slow down behind him so that he could get the launch out the corner.
Yeah, good little 3-way fight that we've still got going on here, and I think it's one that we're going to be mentioning a couple of times. As obviously we'll continue to also talk about that improvement coming from Mullings as well as Herschel. Andrew Herschel also in the Super Laps car, the Super Pigeon, shall we name him, for being up there in 5th position. Here's another fight yet again. Tanner Kneebone has found a bit of traction, but this is on the inside, on the outside. Sorry, is Julian raced, and he gets a little bit of gravel on that back left tire. And a bit of a fender bender coming in there, but Tanner Kneebone defends his position up in 25th. Julian Race, oh, he goes wide in the hairpin, unfortunately, and that leaves the door open for the Gem Racing driver, moving up into 26th position there for Julian Race. And now it's a bit of a runaway. Kamari Odom, also a name that we haven't seen too much yet tonight, a bit further in the background. And also not in the Porsche anymore. So it's always, oh no, it is, sorry, apologies. I was looking at the white McLaren just behind. I was going to say, I thought I did see the red Porsche that's iconic for Kamari Odom and Kristen Montgomery, who isn't here for this time around. But hopefully we'll get to see that feature again. But still Kamari Odom, still 27th position. A bit of a replay coming up. This is Uben Sanderigama. He's just come into the pit lane. Looks like it was just a bit of a pit stop, so he's maybe not coming out of the pit lane here. Was there a bit of an error? So coming out, he's rejoining. On the left side is Tanner as well as Julian Race. No, it looks like all was fine there for Sanderigama. He comes out onto a Rouge as our...
There we go. I've got a feeling car's going to go light in a moment. Oh, no. Oh, all right. Yeah. All right. It's I was expecting, we're saying, our producer in our ear was saying, just hang on a moment, because I think there's going to be something happen. And coming out the pits with a bit of colder tyres, up our Rouge and Radio normally could spell a bit of trouble, but for that time around it didn't. I don't know if you've seen the entry list, Tristan, but in talking to 2 of my drivers on the grid this season, I was having a peek through some of the pro drivers that's coming up later on. There's a certain driver in a certain car, we'll see it obviously later, so I'm not going to give too much away yet, that has changed from last season, and I'm sort of looked at it and was very surprised by that, based off how well he did in the car he was in last year. Again, not trying to give too much away, so if you haven't seen it, we'll chat about it later during the pro race, but a different car for one of the pro drivers, which I was kind of surprised at.
Yeah, well, I mean, sometimes we get to see the drivers, picking out different cars at Shelton Lewis, and another incident, getting knocked up a little bit there on the left-hand side. That's Sigfusson on 23rd in the BMW. That's more damage. That back right is not looking too good on that Mercedes. You can see it's quite exposed from a couple of bumps there, but Shelton Lewis just into the walls here tonight. and unfortunately it's not looking too good up in front, though. Sigfusson was involved with that one. I don't think Collishaw was involved directly, but just a little bit too much bumping going on there through the hairpin. We'll probably get a bit of a replay, as it was slightly more bumping than we would have hoped for between those three drivers as they come now towards the final sector. And just behind is obviously that battle, like we mentioned, Julian Race and Tanner Kneebone. They're going to be rejoining. Yeah, so this is a bit of the battle. Yes, Paul Collishaw, so he's pushing on. I believe this might have been a different livery. There's the bumping. It already started at the end of the Kemmel Straight. So Shelton Lewis coming into the right-hander. There's the bump again, and then diving into the... Okay, so this is back to the Kemmel. Apologies. So there's the one bump. Coming into the left-hander, we're probably going to see another bump here. There's another bump. There's another bump and another one. Okay, so just a couple of ricochet and pinball effects that we see between the two. And then they decide, okay, let's give each other a little bit of space here. I think there's a bit of stickiness around that Mercedes. Okay, I've got to stop. I've got to find a new joke. But great job from Shelton Lewis from not losing the car. That could have ended way worse.
You haven't got to find another joke, because I think it's brilliant and it'll stick with us, pun intended, for the rest of the season. As we've got a couple of cars now into the pit lane. Again, feels a little bit early, and Tanner Kneebone and Lewis is two of the drivers into the pits then. Feels just a few minutes early, considering that they can only do about... no, actually, that seems about right. No, that's about right, yeah. Actually, 35 minutes maximum they could probably do on a stint. So looking for the undercut maybe for Tanner Kneebone and that of... let me see the driver's name now. Of Shelton Lewis as well. Here's the Clutch Night Crew drivers. Santiago Lopez. We had Shay, I believe it was, in the commentary box with us last season. So great to say. Shame he's not here again, but his team is still out there. So great to see the Clutch's Night Crew boys still performing. Bit of a change in livery for them, and one of them avoided the back of the other by going across the gravel there. Santiago Lopez just going across the gravel a little bit and rejoining ahead of the BMW behind of race there. So Rios just trying to have a look up the inside, couldn't do so. Just looking at the leaders, by the way, Davis is 7.6 seconds in the lead. So Russell Blanco, even though he's taken second place from Ahmet Om earlier on, has not got the pace to close in on him. Davis is flying out there.
Yeah, it's one thing I don't typically like to see, especially with, I mean, you can see it on your live timings tower all the way from Davis down towards Kingston Mullings. All of those number distances have gone into the white category, so it's all over a second between each other. 7.5 between Russell Blanco and Davis, and then obviously 2.2 between Parks Miller and Russell Blanco. As there we see Kingston Mullings coming in for his pit stop, Herschel's coming in as well. So a couple of the pit stops will be served in this bracket. Like we mentioned, we got the word from Sam on our side that 35 minutes is going to be that pit stop time, which is why we are worried that Jimenez is not going to make it towards the end after pitting a little bit too early there. So it's going to be quite a bit of a push here to see what the drivers are going to do, but most are going to be coming in inside of this pit window. A couple of them will be coming in a bit earlier. Some of them will try and extend it and try the overcut strategy. It's always good to see the different strategies being pulled. And from last season, we saw a couple of the strategies going very well, and a couple of them turning out to not be the greatest. So it's always good to see how that strategy plays out in a driver's overall progression throughout the race. Here we have Costin Habdal. He's currently holding off Saba still, and these two have been at it pretty much the entirety of this race, keeping each other at bay. But Costin Habdal in that RAA SimSport team, the Ferrari, has been doing a good job of keeping the big Mustang behind in a front engine dominated league, as we've already mentioned it. I'm seeing so many BMWs and so many Mustangs that are currently possessing the dominance of this grid, and it's not really a good or a bad thing. It just shows that most of the drivers prefer that understeery heavy feeling, and front wheel drives are more commonly referred to as a bit of a safer pick car. You'll see in the Pro Series we see a couple more Corvettes, a couple more McLarens, a couple more Ferraris. They're a little bit harder and a little bit more unpredictable, but you can extract a little bit more speed if you know what you are doing. But the front engine's still equally as fast. It all comes down to that driving style. The 32 minutes in, and Davis is an absolute rocket ship. Oh, Looks like we've lost Matthew for the time being, so I'll just grab back from him here. So Julian Race sitting in the pit lane. I have a feeling it's going to be the same thing. There we go. Looks like Matthew's back.
Yeah, I've just caught the wrong button. I thought I was on the other screen to just check something on the rules. I've left the chat. What I was trying to say was, don't forget, with the front engine and mid engine and rear engine cars, is track dependent is going to be an absolute key this season in terms of where these cars are going to perform better. We saw last season when we went to the likes of Daytona Road Course, we saw how good the bigger front engine, more powerful cars did compared to the likes of the more technical circuits. As we're seeing Tanner Kneebone here looking for a move up the inside of Santiago, no, not of Santiago Lopez, sorry, of Sigurdsson, and Tanner Kneebone gets that move done, and up the inside he goes as Sigurdsson is warming up them tyres. So Tanner Kneebone up another spot. Remember, within that 35-minute pit window left in the race, Tanner Kneebone and Lewis made their pit stop. So keep your eyes on them two for possibly making some undercut progression throughout this field, as Russell Blanco now leads the race with Davies and Parks Miller. Russell Blanco, if you remember back to last season, actually had an incident all on his own, dropped the rear, if you remember back at the Lacombe chicane last season. At the start of it. In the Ford Mustang this time around, though, and leads and looking to do that overcut, but should be pitting within the next 2 minutes.
Yeah, he's switched cars, so maybe the Mercedes not feeling like the most optimum choice, because I can't lie to you, we didn't see it once, we didn't see it twice, we didn't see it 3 times, but I think we saw it more than 4 times with Alex Russell having self-inflicted incidents last season. As we got a black flag from Jimmy Carroll. That's a drive-through, unfortunately, that he's got to go and serve. Oh, he's out. It looks like he's gone back to pits. I wonder what's happened to Jimmy Carroll there. Don't know if he made contact with a wall or possibly with another driver. And looks like he's had a bit of an incident. We'll get that replay for you shortly. Here it comes up. It is absolute light speed from our producer in the background. So here's Jimmy Carroll. Was this on pit exit? I believe it might have been.
No.
Okay, Troy Anderson. Yeah, it's Troy Anderson backwards in the pit lane, and yes, that would cause frustration to me as well if I was Jimmy Carroll. He got a drive through for someone blocking the pit exit. What on earth did Troy Anderson do there? Now,
was it a drive through, or was it the X points that you get on iRacing, incident points on iRacing? We saw him have a few bits of contact earlier on. Troy Anderson is around. Oh, that's delayed so many of the leaders coming out the pit lane as well. Drop the rear, lights up the rear. Coming out of pit exit, and that is all. There's Ahmed Tom in the black and yellow Lamborghini. So Troy Anderson in the way. I'm wondering then if Jimmy Carroll's penalty was for incident points with that contact there.
Yeah, he made 2 contacts actually, because he knocked with Anderson and then with that other 296, but also could have been crossing the line on the outside. Although Ahmed Tom and the other leaders also had to cross the exit line to get past. Oh, they've all got drive-throughs. It's that pit exit line that has caused chaos, and Troy Anderson has just put half the grid in a bit of a conundrum here, because they've all got to serve a drive-through penalty to try and navigate around him. Minotto down in 18th got picked up as well for it. And so this is super unfortunate, something we've never seen in the league by Foxxtecca, someone spinning on pit exit. It isn't something that isn't too odd at Spa-Francorchamps. The exit is a little bit sharp, but boy, oh boy, I did not expect to see over 5 drive-through penalties on this grid. Everyone was driving so clean, and then all of a sudden, we just get all these drive-throughs.
Look at this as well. Evan Davis has got the jump over Russell Blanco, but Russell Blanco was pulled by doing the overcut almost 7 seconds back on on Evan Davis here. So Russell Blanco has done an absolute masterclass strategy to put him on the back of the leading Ford Mustang. The question is now, Tristan, can Russell Blanco match that pace of Davis? We saw Davis's pace early doors. It looked fantastic. Can we see it again from the white and purple Ford Mustang up the road in this race? This is going to be a crucial one here in this race to see what happens. But like you say, a lot of drive-through penalties for drivers there for really an unfortunate circumstance based off of the fact that there was a car blocking the exit to the pit lane. And what are they meant to do? Queue up at the end and wait for the car to get going? It's a difficult decision what to do, but yeah, I'm sure that might be one to be discussed by the stewards. And as I've said every season at Foxxtecca, Jim produces it, we commentate it, the drivers drive it. The oddest people in this group and in this league is the stewards, who's got to maintain the peace.
Yeah, I know I'm seeing our virtual grandstand isn't too happy with what's happened, but as Matthew just mentioned, there is nothing we can do from this point. We had to provide the entertainment, not the rulings, and so that will be done afterwards as to what happens in this race. It is unfortunately just one of those things, but the good news is that the racing continues. Minotto now in a battle there with Paul Collishaw, and yes, for those who know Counter-Strike, the game, that is the beautiful Slipstream Halo livery. Very, very nice from the Tsuma Racing team of Paul Collishaw, and he's rocking it for a second season in a row here. But it looks like Minotto on the inside line coming into the left-hander towards Puon, and this is a great move that he's made there. He caught Collishaw completely under guard there and moves up into 21st position. We've also obviously got Haley Batson in the virtual grandstand, I believe the mother of Landon Batson. He's currently down in 37th position. And still holding on strong as much as he can. He's actually moved up to 35th now throughout the backside. He's actually gone off as soon as we're talking about it. And there's the driver can that we didn't get last season. And man, oh man, that Moser R5 wheel, he's made contact with Coolidge, I believe. Unfortunately, that is not what we like to see.
I don't think he did. I think Coolidge lost the rear and may have made contact just as Coolidge has lost the rear, but I think Coolidge lost that all on his own there, Tristan. But this guy followed me on Instagram earlier today, Landon Batson's account on Instagram, and I've been flicking through, and I tell you what a guy, 8 years old. You know, he can only go up from 8 years old in terms of his career in sim racing, and best of luck to him. And you know, I've seen his dad and everything. It's just fantastic to see. What a good lad. What I was noticing as well a moment ago, I was watching Paul Collishaw. Here we go. Further forward, the Clutches Night Crew boys was almost bullying Tannen Ebone in a position, but Tannen Ebone and Sigurdsson have managed to break away from this pack, and that is Minotto leading the way over Paul Collishaw and a few of the others. So, Collishaw sideways! Collishaw sideways! Clip somebody at the top of Radion!
Oh, that's good.
This is Sigurdsson, though, as we drop back towards Collishaw. There's one of the Clutches Night Crew drivers just off. And I don't know if that Clutches Night Crew car was a lap down, because it wasn't showing on the timing tower as being around Paul Collishaw. Collishaw's lost the rear wing as well, so shame for Paul Collishaw there. Hopefully Jim is as magical as ever as he is on the replays. Let's take a look at what happens here then. So the Clutches Night Crew car, bit of netcode contact there. And I believe that's a lapped car. I believe that one was a lap down.
Yeah, that's double contact and the netcode like we spoke about. Yeah, I'm not too sure why, even if you're a lapped car, I don't know why you'd be going slow on the inside of a Rouge, because everyone apexes on the inside of Rouge. You can see that Minotto took evasive action in his blue BMW. He went wide and rather went off track to avoid the car on the inside, but Paul Collishaw just didn't have the time to react to the slow car on the inside. And obviously from our sides, we didn't see the contact, but the netcode just slightly off. And Collishaw is going to have to, it's Ken Majori on the inside. And just trying to hold on. He sees all the faster drivers coming by, and then he makes double contact with Collishaw, which is why we saw so much damage on that Prince Stream Porsche. And that is rather unfortunate.
The thing I saw earlier on, that he was trying to help it looked like he was trying to help his teammate around Tannen Ebone. See, there was a few argy-bargy pushing and shoving when we was watching Paul Collishaw, and then he fell back into that pack and just go slow mid El Rouge. And one of my biggest bugbears in sim racing is, if you've got the blue flags, regardless of whether it's move out the way or let the leaders pass you, is just be aware of the leaders having a fight. Don't get yourself involved. It is not worth the aggravation of getting yourself involved in an incident with a car on the lead lap. It's one of my biggest bugbears. Well, one question that has been answered is Russell Blanco is sticking to that of Evan Davis, as here is Al Teriso looking on the back of Amaro, then down towards the hairpin. No.
Man, I started clutching there. I've got my sim racing pedals below. I just slammed them all fully. I won't even lie to you.
Phantom braking. I tell you what, I know it's first race of the season, guys and girls, out there, But let's just remember, this is the first race. We don't need to be diving into corners that you don't really overtake on. Let's just think about the moves we're making here. And this is just the AM race. We've still got 1 hour of the pros coming up later on.
Yeah, we definitely do. Sigfusson had a moment there. He just dropped off the live timings tower. He's now all the way down, I believe, towards 37th, but he's had quite a moment. He had the meatball flag. So he's definitely made contact somewhere, and he's currently in the pit lane. So hopefully we can find a replay there of what happened to Sigfusson. He just dropped off there just as we were having a bit of a chat there. But yeah, like we were talking about, guys, it's round number 1. We've still got another 7 weeks of this. You'll have all the opportunities. Maybe don't do an aggressive dive like that. That could end both of your races. And I believe we don't have the incident, unfortunately, for Sigfusson not showing up on the board, which is unfortunate. There we do see him sitting in the pit lane. He's got the meatball flag, and not too sure what happened there. Someone's off on the left. That's Alex Altericio. He was having a bit of a battle there, I believe, with Amaro up in front. Amaro also incredible gain, somebody who we haven't been chatting about too much from the Streamline Motorsports car. And he's currently 14 positions up. Obviously, the driver who just got dived on by Altericio. And fortunately, Altericio, I think, realized his error, slammed the brakes hard enough to allow for both of them to have a bit of a slow spin. But they were both able to recover it, just losing a bit of track time. And obviously, Amaro now 10.6 seconds away from Kingston Mullings. There's Mune Soishe Manoto down 19th. My goodness, that's a late move on the outside of Tananibone, and he's going very out wide, trying to get a bit of a tuck-in rotation. Is it going to prove beneficial? And my goodness, Manoto, that looked very odd from that camera angle.
We need to see another one like that, and somehow he's managed to still get a run on Tananibone. Tananibone then actually loses the place. Does Tananibone there? We'll just get this one back a bit. Jim will work his magic to take it back, but he was pointing towards the grass coming through the chicane. Look at this. Oh no, maybe he wasn't. It looked on board like he was having a
camera angle.
Yeah, it looked like on board he was having a massive moment. It turns out he's absolutely nailed it. So yeah, there we go. We got all excited for nothing. Ramsey Jimenez has been back into the pits, however, to complete the stop because of the earlier pit stop. Tananibone now in the slipstream of Manoto down in towards the Com chicane. Doesn't think of making the move though in this one at this moment in time. But Evan Davis now look out front, 1.2 seconds in the league. Bit of a train behind this of Tananibone as well. And there is Russell, who he just got no answer for Davis in this race. Evan Davis has been absolutely phenomenal. The problem for Davis now is he's got a bit of traffic in front, and will the traffic play ball?
Yeah, I mean, Russell Blanco also caught up with that whole incident with Davis getting caught up in the pit lane there by obviously Troy Anderson, and that's where we saw the overall gain, but I believe also his overcut strategy really assisted him. And here we now see Davis getting a nice slipstream on the inside of these two cars, and now Russell's got a fight with the two of them going up towards Arouge. He might get a bit of slip on the Mercedes in front, but he's a little bit too far away here. So heading up Arouge now, and unfortunately that distance is just growing as the laps go. 1.3 seconds and only 15 minutes left. Jeepers, this race has gone incredibly quick. It's already 15 minutes left to go. And Russell Blanco, he's done an incredible job, don't get me wrong, to keep himself in second. But that mission of getting ahead of Davis now is going to be one to work with. Kneebone's lost down on 3 positions. I believe he might be dropping off the grid here slightly. There he is in the background, so a little bit of mistakes coming there, and a couple of bumps and taps coming up towards Blanchimont. Not too sure what happened, as we do have Shelton Lewis yet again on the backside now of Larosso, and just up ahead is Manoto. Let's hope for some clean racing here between this pack, because it's quite a close battle here. It's the battle for 19th position, with Larosso basically leading from 19th all the way down to 24th. And as you can see, it's a huge pack of cars behind Kneebone and Odom just a bit further as well. And let's hope we can see some good overtakes, as we now see Santiago Lopez on the inside line into La Source. Is he going to have the rotation in the BMW? Yes, he is. And it's a good, clean overtake.
It is a good clean overtake. Just saw that of the Clutches Night Crew BMW there, just bottomed out over the second of the chicanes as Kamari Odom now in the slipstream of Tananibone towards Old Rouge they go. It's not about overtaking here, it's about getting that launch at the top of Radion to go down the Camel Straight in the slipstream. Tananibone trying to hang on here. He made some mistake earlier on that's dropped him down 3 or 4 positions in this race, but can he hold on to it as Santiago Lopez now trying to fend off that of Lewis in the bubblegum pink and blue car. Round the outside, inside for that of Lewis. It'll be the outside for the right hand of the final part of this little complex, and Lewis now gets the up and under, looks to the inside of Lopez in that Mercedes-Benz. Lovely bit of driving there from the Mercedes-Benz and the BMW to hang on into this. It's not done yet though, because Lopez has got that inside line through No Name, is not able to take the momentum, dips a wheel into the gravel, does the Mercedes-Benz. Lopez trying to come back at Shelton Lewis here, can't do so, now has a look into Pouon, and again, can't make anything of it. Lovely little fight down in the mid-pack. This is all for 20th position at the moment in this race. Oh, excuse me. As that's Odin pulling out very late in the background on Tanner and Nebo. We'll see as they come through now. Tanner's held on to that one, so a good job there. Alteriso's on the back of Amaro as well for 6th and 7th. Tanner fighting for his life. They're side by side though. Alan Ware and Ramsey Jimenez side by side, and that fierce looking Lamborghini gets the move for 15th place.
Yeah, great looking, great move over there from Alan Ware, deep onto the inside of the bus stop chicane. Drew Metcalf a little bit further up in 9th. He's got pressure from Havdal now on the backside, and he's going to get a little bit of a better rundown towards Arouge. And indeed, there is action all over the grid, and this is what we love to see. Back there with Ramsey Jimenez. He's on 15th now, onto the inside line, just on Alan Ware, and he's gotten the move made. You can see the smiles coming from the camera below. He's happy with that one, and it was a super clean move. He moves up into 15th now, chasing down towards Arouge. And you can see he's very happy with himself, and that's always good to see the driver positivity coming there. But now Costin Havdal on the outside line. You have Metcalf very close with each other on the exit there of the Kemmel Straight. A little bit of bumps, but it looks like Havdal's going to have the rotation in the 296 and gets ahead with a relatively clean overtake, and into the sand goes Metcalf, unfortunately not getting the rotation in that Mercedes. We do also have a confirmation, at least for next week, that the other red Porsche is going to be present of Kristen Montgomery. Yes. Just missing out on this round, which is great to see. So I thought it was a permanent thing of her not being here, but great to see she'll be participating. Back onto the action though. Alteriso, pressure on Amaro again. These two have been back and forth with each other, and there is just so much going on between 6th and 7th position as they continuously fight up and down the grid with 12 minutes left. This is the prime window for overtakes, Matthew, and as you can see, our drivers are not using that as a wasted opportunity.
No, they're not at all. The battle on for position 6-7 in this race. Yes, I did just make a 6-7 joke, deal with it, and Christian in the chat said that our commentators are amazing for sure. Well, thank you very much, Kristen. We do try our best to bring you. It's realistically, Kristen, it's down to you drivers on the grid, because without you drivers putting on such a great display, me and Tristan would have not a lot to talk about. So thankfully, the drivers are amazing at what they do. Tristan can bring you amazing commentary, and it's not just the commentators. We have to give a massive shout out to our fantastic producer Jim Cunningham, who brings you all the cameras, all the replays, the fantastic action that he covers. He's got such a busy job trying to pick and choose which battles to do. So, tip my hat to Jim Cunningham. I know how hard it is. I try and do it myself earlier on tonight, to try and do it myself and cover as much action as I can. I actually tried to cover a lot of Tristan last week on a race that I was covering there, and he was having some good fights. So I know how hard Jim's job is, but a great fight here for that 20th, 21st, 22nd spot between that of Lewis, Lopez and Schoppler. Schoppler in the BMW pulls to the inside line, thinks better of it though. Tanner Nebone in the background, looks like he's coming back at Kamari Odom, up the inside at the bus stop chicane. Great move from Tanner Nebone, up one more, and who is that with Tanner? That I believe is May in the blue Mercedes-Benz. So no matter where you look tonight, Tristan, this AM race has been action-packed.
Yeah, that's been absolutely phenomenal. Apologies for laughing there. I see number one Fin fan is just saying, oh no, hold on, Gorbatenko's going around. I believe, no, it's Metcalf, sorry. But someone in the virtual grandstand just saying that Matthew should be cancelled after that joke. And quite frankly, I'm on board. I'm so sick and tired of that joke. And so we've gone from Kirsten's amazing commentators, and now we are no longer with terrible commentators. So thank you, Matthew. You've just ruined our reputation with that one. But back to the racing. It's all right. The racing doesn't degrade, okay? We keep going, okay? So this is done with Bowie soon. He's down 13th. Back up to the top, though, Amaro and Altericio, these two have been absolutely at each other. And Dawson Lathan is slowly starting to catch up. That's not Dawson, apologies. That's Troy Anderson. I believe he's lapped. I believe that's... No, it's not Troy Anderson. That's another one of the Corvette drivers currently sitting behind them. I'm not too sure who that is, but it is a lapped car, so not involved in this fight. But 9 minutes left to go. Probably Colin Flynn, yeah, it is. There we go. Colin Flynn down 35th position. He's just chasing on for the time being, just getting the race done and dusted with. But just about 9 minutes left to go. Could we see a dive here from the driver behind of Altericio on Amaro? Oh, Amaro's blipped. And where does he come back? That is a very, very scary thing to happen into bus stop chicane for Altericio. He managed it well, though. And he blips again. So he's having a couple of connection issues here, and Altericio's got to work with it. There he's back. But hopefully with the next 8 minutes, it can stop and subside, because this will be a little bit difficult for them to fight if he's continuously blipping. But man, there is just action everywhere you look here for the Pro-Am race.
You can't beat this at the moment, can you? And if this is anything to go by, the pro race is going to be happening. Here's something we've not seen a lot of. Here is Bowie Sewin on the back of Metcalf. Maybe a little bit of contact there. Ware is in the pit lane, so Ware has had to make another stop with 8 minutes left on the clock. Battle for 12th and 13th place in this race, as we're in the in the red and mustardy yellow Ford Mustang climbs up El Rouge and into Radion once again. Ketchup and mustard, there we go, Jim, exactly. We've got ketchup and mustard, we've got bubblegum coloured cars out there this season. It's great to see the condiments and the bubblegum colours out on track, as here comes Amaro looking up the inside and now gets the move done over... No, sorry, hangs on in there over Altericio. It's Amaro who's behind, who keeps just blipping every now and again. And Altericio, this is so distracting. Oh, Altericio has got by him, apologies. This must be so distracting for the drivers trying to fight each other, and the car just keeps blipping every now and again. It must be a very difficult job to defend from in this race. Saba on the back of Hovdal, for 9th and 10th. We've got Metcalf and Sewin for 12th and 13th. Minotto and LaRusso for 17th and 18th. Lewis and Lopez exchanging places for 19th and 20th. Battles up and down the grid, no matter which way you look at it. This is the Andre Saba and Havdal fight. Then in towards Piff Paff they come. And a great thing there. And I've just seen a comment come in saying you're allowed 167 joke per season. So there we go.
Yeah, you've used it, and now I can't even use it. So like,
oh no, one each.
Yeah, no. I don't think it's one each. We're gonna upset the grandstand. All right, let's keep it to one per season. As we've got good fighting here. As Kamari Odom just on the backside of Tananiba, and these three still at it now for the past couple of laps, and with only about 6 minutes left to go. And as you can see, Kamari Odom diving on the inside, having a bit of a look and to see what we can do. I've just seen another comment. I believe it's from the Evan Davis team. They're commentating saying, the commentators, you guys are seriously good, could be doing this professionally. The good news is we do it professionally. So that's a good compliment and a tap on the back to myself and Matthew. We appreciate it. And about 6 minutes left to go. We still keep on pushing strong. Andre Saba on the backside of a Saba. And we'll have to see. Sorry, the producer just said, oh, wait, they pay you for this? It's like, oh, yeah, no, we don't just sit here from 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. every single morning talking about cars, just for the fun of it. I mean, I think I could do it for the fun of it with how good the league is. But, it's always good to be doing it for the good profession of it. But back to the racing, which is what we're actually here for. There's a bit of a contention. Minotto's got pressure, and that's from LaRusso on the back end side, and Manusueshi, he's doing a lot of work there in the BMW to keep that red Mercedes behind. That's Nicholas LaRusso, like we mentioned. A bit of a dive on the inside of the 99 there, almost contact on the rear side, and they continue to push down. But 5 minutes left to go here, Matthew. This is the prime window for those last minute overtakes, and we're seeing it potentially with Odom and Kneebone. These two have been at it, and Odom, the last couple of positions that they can be making here. With 5 minutes left to go on the backside of Kneebone, will it be an overtake, or will we see Kneebone defending that spot of 25th for the next 5 minutes?
Well, this is crucial, isn't it? But like you say, this is where the overtakes can happen, but this is also where the mistakes can creep in from cars defending the line just a little bit too hard, or overtaking cars being just a little bit too aggressive. This is the most important 5 minutes of the race, because you can lose the race on that one. But you can also lose the race in the final moments of it as well by just being overly aggressive. Minotto still fending that off of LaRusso at this moment in time. So with 4 and a bit minutes left on the clock, Your top 8 at the moment look pretty good. It's Evan Davis who leads this race. From then that of Russell Blanco with Caden Parks-Miller in P3, which are all pretty, like I say, the top 8 are pretty comfortable. I say that. Amaro's just got back on the rear of Alticero then for P6. Herschel is in P4, quietly gone about Herschel's business today. It just not really seen much of the Superlap phase Ford Mustang. It was in the thick of a bit of action earlier on, but quietly gone about its business since then. Kinston Mullins as well. Again, another quiet day. No loss, no gain for Kinston Mullins. Sat P5, nice and comfortable. P6 and P7, Alteriso and Amaro there. Back at it, just goes over 1 second. That's why the numbers go to white. The yellow numbers on the timing tower, remember, means they're between half a second and a second. If they go orange, it means they're right on the back of them to half a second. They're P6 and 7. Dawson Lathan in the Acura, running in a solid P8 for the Acura, to be fair. A car that is not a lot of popular choice for this car, and the Acura running up in P8. So a strong showing for Dawson Lathan. Not far off the back of Amaro and Alteriso here in this one as well. Saber's P9 with Havdal putting him under pressure for P9 and 10 in this race. But absolutely fantastic. What, you couldn't wish for a better opener of the season than this.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I think the only thing that could make this better for me is if it was on like a home track like Halami, like I mentioned at the beginning. But that's not in iRacing just as of yet, hopefully in the future. But Spa, still an incredible opening round that we've had just so far. Tannen Ebone does lose out to Kamari Odom, just coming out of La Source there. And Kamari's made the position into 24th. Oh no, the blipping is starting to happen there. Looks like it's all right. Hopefully it's just 1 or 2 blips. That should be good. And actually, Saba did get back into 9th. He's now back at a settled 0 score in terms of position. Here comes Nebone on the outside, though, again, for position. So Saba's gotten ahead of Havdal, as we do see the switching of it. And back to it. There we go. Kamari Odom now loses out to Nebone, yet again coming onto the Camel, out of the Camel straight. And so Nebone regains it a little bit further. A name that we haven't been seeing too much here tonight, down in 28th, and that is Bartosz Baczynski. He's down 28th currently in the BMW. He's got pressure from Bergwijn, who also had a couple of incidents there in his red Mercedes, but now heading down to the exit of the Camel Straight into sector number 2. This is going to be a good fight between these two with 2 minutes left to go. And that final lap, that white flag wave, is going to come down to where Evan Davis crosses the line. Landon Batson gets a drive-through penalty, unfortunately, towards the end of the race. And that is so unfortunate so late into the race, because he's got to go and serve it, or else he's going to get a time penalty if he doesn't serve it before the end of the race. Only a minute left to go. Where does Davis currently sit on the track? That will depend on if we're already on white flag lap, and I believe we are already on white flag lap. He's only coming through the hairpin now of sector 2, and we've got only 1 minute left, so I believe this might already be white flag for Evan Davis to bring it home. 3.1 seconds ahead of Russell Blanco, and he has held it like an absolute ox up in front.
Yes, indeed. I'm noticing that Dawson Lathan's moved up to P6. Amaro's dropped to 7th, and Alteriso has dropped down to P10. This is the last lap of the race. What a shame for Landon Batson. I've just noticed in the virtual grandstand, I'm catching a few strays here, because somebody mentioned earlier on that all the commentators hungry because we keep mentioning bubblegum and ketchup and mustard. And my number one Finn fan, my friend, good friend Langley, says Duffin is always hungry. So yes, catching strays in the virtual grandstand here from Langley. I'll be having words at the end of the night. As Shopler here going side by side. This will be braving towards El Rouge and Radion side by side. This is brilliantly done at the moment. A little bit of track limits maybe from the pair. Stay side by side. Great done. There's the bit of contact. They're still together though, and Shopler gets through now. Bit of a slowdown coming the way though of that of Lopez, so a little bit easy done at the end. Amaro's dropped down to P9 now, so Amaro not having the best lap, and Davis is coming towards the very end to win this race. Peyton May has just been forced off there, but Evan Davis wins the first race of the season. Alex Russell Blanco in second place, and to round out the podium, Caden Parks-Miller. You've got a feeling that it could be a repeat of last season between Russell Blanco and Parks-Miller with the addition of Evan Davis.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a great standing going on here between the top battles, but back to it into the standard in the middle section. We'll go through the full standings at the end of the race here, and a little bit of battle here. Here's Amaro and Gorbatenko, I believe. So Gorbatenko now getting on the backside of Amaro, who fell off slightly from Altericio. Now Altericio has actually fallen off from the two of them, so lots has happened here between the mid-pack, and Altericio's lost out. Now around the outside, Dan Gorbatenko into the bus stop chicane. This is going to be a move just before the flag, but it's not going to be enough. It's going to be wheel to wheel. Who's going to take it? Coming down to the line, and Gorbatenko just gets it from Amaro to Altericio to Metcalf. My goodness, Dan Gorbatenko could not have picked a better time to swing it into bus stop chicane and go nose to nose. Pulled the Lightning McQueen tongue moment there, I've got to say to you. And Gorbatenko gets across in ninth position, back towards the rear side. It is Tananebo and Kamari Odom. The two have been fighting non-stop here tonight, and he looks like Tananebo is going to come across to hold it, unless we see another swing into bus stop chicane here. Kamari Odom, last chance to try and get this position, but you also don't want to risk doing anything foul, and it looks like not going to be enough traction to make that move, unless on the corner exit here, and unfortunately not. Tries to power out, not enough traction, and the car goes wide. That's Tananebo into Kamari Odom. What an incredible top 25 we had there, finishing it off for the AM race.
Absolutely incredible. Kamari Odom and Tananebo, they've been going at it for a while now as well, so great job from them to we'll go through the final classifications of this race in just a couple of moments time. Landon Batson there and Smallwood with them drive-through penalties at the end. That'll be time added on to their final race results. Shame for Landon Batson as well. He was up 7 places, was the youngster, so a good night for Landon Batson. What I like about Landon Batson, 8 years old, is he's just got no pressure on his shoulders. He can go out there and just drive and gain all this experience. So great to see from the young lad in this one. There's the final finishes come across the line. We'll get the final race results on your screen in a moment. Before we head to a little bit of a break and we go back to our podcast series, to just keep up to date with everything Foxxtecca. It just allows Jim chance to get the Pro Series ready to go. It gives me and Tristan as well the chance to get a drink and a bit of a break. And this docu-series, this series is on Destiny to see her journey into the NASCAR championships as well. So keep your eyes on that one. There's Ramsey Jimenez, who had a big send at the end early on and failed there. But your final race results coming up on screen momentarily. Evan Davis, race winner by 2.9 seconds from Alex Russell Blanco. Caden Parks Miller was in P3 from then that of Andrew Herschel. Kingston Mullins in 5th place from Nick Dawson-Latham. Andre Saba from Kristen Hovdal. Dan Gorbatenko was in P8 from Dominic Amaro, P11. Alex Alteriso from Drew Metcalf. Bowie Sewin from Troy Anderson. Ramsey Jimenez, 15th from Julian Reese. Manoto was P17. I'm not going to even try that first name yet. I need to learn that one.
You almost tried.
Yeah, I did. And you can see the rest of the field just coming up on your screen. Now, it was Wheeler Russo 18th, Lewis 19th, Shopler P20 from Santiago Lopez, Alan Ware, Peyton May, Tannen Ebone, Kamari Odom, Samuel Patty, Paul Collishaw was 27th.
Yeah, 28th down for the AM race results. Before we tell you that's Bartosz Baczynski, Randy Oliva, Owen Borgwin, Jeremy Alvarado, Tristan Vinson, who we saw have a bit of an incident early on in the race. And then Landon Batson, John Small, Uven Sandirigama, Alexis Barrington, Lewis Holloway, Declan Dianarine, Archie Woods, Oliver Sigfusson, Caden Coolidge, apologies, Ken Majuri, Amit Ohm, unfortunately down 44th after that incident earlier on. Jimmy Carroll, Vegard Hendrickson, and Rain Woodside, your final driver here on the 47 car grid. Don't go anywhere far. Maybe go to the kitchen, get something to drink, get something to eat. We've got a couple of podcast episodes coming up, like we mentioned, of Destiny and a journey towards NASCAR. And then we've got the pros coming up, the same track, same format. We'll see you shortly, same commentators in just a couple of times. Have a good one.
I drive tractor trailers. I've been doing it for maybe like 6 years. So, yeah, that's what I do.
All right, y'all. Yes, I know I got my hair tied up because my hair is beautiful under here, and I was working today, and I didn't want it to, get messed up. Today is 1/15/2026. It's my last day. working here at Northern Neck Auto Parts. So I'm about to pull the brakes for the last time. Okay, turn the truck off now. Turning the lights off. That's it! Oh my God!
I don't see how you could be a race car driver, especially be a woman.
I think we're going to sneak up on some people.
Destiny Spurlock in her Foxxtecca machine working with the Iranas.
It's fast-paced.
Here's a young lady out of Fredericksburg, here in Virginia. She's not just coming out of nowhere here. This is a young lady who knows how to ride a motorcycle.
Women are making a name for themselves in motorsport.
I would be the first African-American woman to race in NASCAR.
They didn't know who she was. They will know.
So y'all, this is like my official last week having a job. Like, all the things are happening, y'all. So I'm moving to North Carolina. Okay. I am now a full-time motorsports racer. And I say motorsports because I'm racing full season ARCA and half season NHRA Pro Stock. So NASCAR and NHRA. Y'all, I've been working so hard for this point. It is here. Hey y'all, I know y'all can't see my face at all. I mean, I went back to the RV for the second time because we had to drop off some more stuff so we can make room for the things that aren't going. We get back to the RV, the heat will not come on at all. At all. So thankfully we have bought a heater from Walmart, but it's still too cold for droggies. Alright, got Mr. Corn. This one also put treats in it. Alright, pup, you got another one. You got another one. Come here. Life is definitely lifing right now. But I know great things are on the horizon. And I am more than ready for it. My name is Destiny Spurlock, and I'm from King William, Virginia. I am a NHRA Pro Stock motorcycle racer. I've always wanted to come to NHRA Pro Stock motorcycle and do really good in this space, but little do you know, my heart lies in NASCAR. Always, since I was a little tot. I realized racing wasn't just a hobby when I went to the drag strip at 12 years old. I saw all these motorcycles. I'm like, Mom, I want to do this. And my family's always been super supportive of me no matter what I wanted to do. So she's like, okay, we're going to go buy you a bike. So when I turned 16, she bought me a bike. And I saw the race life. And I'm like, this is me. This is what I'm supposed to do. Not thinking that 12, 15 years later, I'd be doing it professionally. It was kind of always written in my story. The correlation with my grandfather is we grew up maybe 2 miles from RIR, Richmond International Raceway, so I would always hear the NASCARs racing it since I was little. Always felt that vibration. That was home for me. But y'all, I just moved to North Carolina. We just moved! I'm so excited. This is my new, well, me and Droggy's new home. Well, not even just me and Droggy's, but me, my family, my team. This is our home.
I feel my blood. Yeah, I
The premise of the workout today is cardio. Hi, I'm Brianna O'Leary. I am Destiny Strength and Conditioning Coach and a NASCAR tire changer. We're gonna go until we get done with 100 calories on each machine as partners. So when you're working on the ski, you are doing one of these 4 movements. I'll walk you through them all. And then when you get back from the movements, y'all will switch and then y'all will go. Remember, strong back, big chest. There you go. 2 more. There you go. Boom, look at that. Nice. Less than 25 minutes.
Strength training, cardio, all of that gets you in shape.
You want her?
To be able to drive without worrying about falling out of the seat.
Yes.
Without worrying about your stamina, without worrying about the heat. You know, and it just frees your mind up, concentrate on what you're doing. I grew up in Lenoir, North Carolina, 15 minutes from Hickory Motor Speedway. Started athletic training at Lenoir High School. I went to NC State as an athletic trainer. Then I transferred to North Carolina A&T and met a gentleman by the name of Tom Bynum. Then went to grad school at Michigan State. Got a chance to work with Nick Saban. From there, I became the head trainer at Florida A&M. After being at Florida A&M for 5 years, I became the head athletic trainer at the University of Memphis, which was Memphis State at the time. From there, I decided I wanted to do some pro sports. I went to Milwaukee for 5 years. So after I left the Bucks, moved back to North Carolina, moved my family back to North Carolina. Got with a driver by the name of Ernie Irvin. Ernie's one of the all-time 50 greats in the sport, and I just learned what it was to be a trainer, a strength coach for a driver.
Oh, wow.
We'd already had a black female as a pit crewman, Brandon Daniels, but the missing element was to find a African-American female that could come in and do this and drive, and I knew that would be a big thing.
Yep, I need to loosen these up too. They don't have the tabs.
Being in this space has shaped me as a woman because first, we're the girls. Let's start there. There's no girls, right? And nevertheless, there's no minorities, nowhere, anywhere. So for me to be able to come into this space and excel and be a great example for other little boys and girls that are coming up after me, like, it's phenomenal. You don't have to just play, football or basketball. You can come over here in motorsports and do the daggone thing like me.
All right, this is my practice, baby.
All right.
All right. But y'all, I just moved to North Carolina. We just moved!
I'm so excited. I am now a full-time motorsports racer. I'm racing full season ARCA, half season NHRA Pro Stock. I've always wanted to come to NHRA Pro Stock motorcycle and do really good in this space, but little do you know, my heart lies in NASCAR. Always, since I was a little child. Yeah, I've been working so hard for this.
Women are making a name for themselves in motorsports.
I don't see how you could be a race car driver, especially be a woman.
To go ride a pro stock motorcycle 180 mile an hour. I think we're going to sneak up on some people.
Destiny Spurlock in her Foxxtecca machine, working with the Iranas out of Fredericksburg, here in Virginia. She's not just coming out of nowhere here. This is a young lady who knows how to ride a motorcycle.
This is where she's supposed to be at.
This could be special. She might be able to do this.
So I would be the first African-American woman to race in NASCAR.
You gave me 3 of them. I got another one. You just give it back to me before you leave, or I'll just cash you up at $300.
300 is crazy. You know I can do $300.
Yeah. It cost me $3 and I sell it for $300.
The reason why I'm going so deep is because I'm getting to the bottom and de-wedging the car. Like if you're going deep but never touch the bottom, it's not going to help the car rotate. So you have to clip the bottom to help the car rotate. It's called de-wedging the car. Because these two angles are different. So the way it compresses the shocks helps turn the car.
Me being another woman racing another woman, that didn't excite me. At all. I love racing against the guys because guys' egos are huge. So when I beat them, oh my gosh, they would give me so much crap like, yeah, you got me this time. I'm like, yeah, and I'm gonna get you next time too. So I love that.
That impact ring is bigger than we did.
Coach, we're not doing this today.
Look at that impact ring.
Don't.
Look at it.
Don't do this.
You see, look how big Bree is.
Right.
That's what we need to carry that.
Well. But what if I do it, then what?
Hey, I'll be surprised.
Well, I guess you're gonna be surprised.
Go pick it up.
Coach, you forgot what I do.
Yep.
I'm around power tools all the time, sir.
Pick it up.
Where the gloves at? I don't need no gloves. It's heavy? I mean, yeah, but no. You know, you can toss it.
I guess we got this.
I ain't no Pisces, I'm an Aries. I'm an Aries.
March 30th, you're Pisces.
I'm an Aries.
Welcome back to the League by Foxxtecca here, ready for the pro race. Now, a bit of a smaller grid for this one, only the 32 cars in the pro category this season. So a little bit smaller grid than the AMs, but you can put your money on the fact that this is going to be an absolutely action-packed race here. This is not just because there's a few less cars on the grid does not mean there's going to be any room for let-up. And don't worry, it isn't a single-class series. There is 4 or 5 cars that's different. There's 3 Mercedes-Benz, 1 Porsche and 1 McLaren out on the grid. The rest, yes, are Ford Mustangs, which kind of shows you, we saw it a little bit last season, Tristan, that when it comes to the pro drivers that's out there, the testing that these guys would have done and the preparation these guys would have done is purely down to which car is going to be best on these fixed setups.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're talking about the grid dominance in the AM race, and it's metastasized in race number 2 here for the pros because it's pretty much a 90% grid dominance of Ford Mustangs. You're looking at the row behind you as we just refreshed the new liveries. It's literally just Ford Mustangs all over the board. Obviously, like we mentioned, about 5 Mercedes, 1 Ferrari, 1 Porsche, 1 McLaren. So definitely looking at the season calendar, like we mentioned, the pros will scan the entire calendar and pick a car that is going to be best across the entire board. And it looks like the Ford Mustang has come out to be the most balanced. It's got one of the best top speeds in the platform currently. And yeah, I mean, it's the same thing from last season as well. Last season, we saw the similar result of the Ford Mustang being the common pick. So it seems like in iRacing, it just is one of the better GT3 cars as it stands. Obviously, in real-life GT racing, it's obviously mixed across the board when budgets and existing fleets come into play. But when it comes into sim racing, you can pick whatever you want at any given time. and lock into it. We do have last year's results coming up for you not last year's, but last season's results coming up to you, which was also last year. It is again Marley Joff up in top with 639 points. Dennis Grabowski into second, and Nikolai Peterson. Gregory Hooverson, unfortunately not here this season. He was fourth last season. Leo Dragotta fifth. Aaron Zurich sixth, with Kevin Rold seventh. Wilhelm Andre eighth. Ballas Pala also not joining us this season in ninth. Tyler Carr in 10th. Ty Dunnett 11th. Tyler King 12th. Zohair Ahmad with Savio Peniche in 14th. Cameron Brown 15th. Eric Hulsband in 16th. Joe Manzoli in 17th. And Lucas Souza down in 18th.
Yeah, indeed it was, and it was Gabriel Ivanov in 19th place, Alexei Nesov, Marcel Morox in 21st, and you can see the rest of the drivers coming through there. We'll see who's returned throughout this season. But the big one is the fact that Marley Joff has left the Corvette, which he seemed pretty dominant and comfortable in at times last season. Don't get me wrong, there was tracks where the Corvette looked like it struggled out there, but Marley Joff choosing to go to the Ford Mustang this year and try and be even more dominant than what he was last season. He's already kicking it off the right way. As you can see on your timing screen now, he is on pole, so he's trying to start his second season here at the league by Foxxtecca the same way as he ended his first.
Yeah, exactly that. He's actually just been beaten out though by Rodrigo Meats, who gets a bit of a better time, 2:16.2. And as you can see with the I ratings on the right-hand side, we've got a dominant amount of 9K figures with Rodrigo Meats 9,800 I rating about. Marley Joff just a bit further behind, 8.5. He's dropped since last season, unfortunately. Dennis Grabowski, he's a little bit low down, 6.5. And Matisse down 14th, actually. He's actually only 4,000 I rating. So it's good to see a bit of a balance there between a couple of our driving and a couple of our drivers still getting their times in 10 minutes in to this qualifying session. Rodrigo Meats does get that time up on top, and I'm hoping for quite an action-packed pro series. And one thing I've got to say to our virtual grandstand is please don't disappear when the pros come on. It was unfortunately something that happened in last season where our virtual grandstand was absolutely alive during the AMs, and then as soon as our pros came on, it just seems like everybody went to focusing hard on the racing and not much chatter in the virtual grandstand. We love chatting with you guys. We love shouting out a couple of the drivers out on the grid, so make sure you stay interacted with us throughout that virtual grandstand, and we can keep that flowing for the rest of the racing here in the early morning for us, and obviously in the evening for the Americans. Yo Neshev, a new driver, he gets himself into fifth, so lots of new drivers also finding their spots on the grid.
Yeah, indeed they are, and I was just double checking, and if you're wondering why the I rating is so important here in the league by Foxxtecca, that's because that's what determines the AM and the pro grid. The cut-off I rating to be in the pro field is 3,200, so if you're 3,200 and above, you'll be in the pro series. If you're 3,199 and below, you will be in the AMS series. So that is if you're wondering what separates pros from AMS, and as we can see, the pro drivers are very, very tight in qualifying. There is your current AM champion, Maya Dianarim, who I have to say produced some fantastic liveries last season. One that stands out was the Sakura tree on the roof of the Mercedes-Benz, the pink and white Japanese Suzuka livery with the Sakura tree on the car. Absolutely beautiful liveries, and we'll see if Maya Dianarin sticks with theme of changing liveries each race as Nicholas Laubisch, a returning face, the German driver, tops the timing screens with a 2:16.1 in qualifying so far, provisional pole.
Great stuff there from Laubisch, and also a highly aggressive driver in a good way that we saw in season number 2. Very, very good on the marks in terms of putting pressure and intimidation on someone that he's chasing, and looks like today he's managed to get it on the top of the timing block and hoping to keep himself up there. It's also just good to mention yet again our amazing sponsors here at the League by Foxxtecca, obviously brought to you live here by Apex Racing TV. But the range of sponsors, Roasted Records coming in, fueling up our drivers for the late night racing. Well, not too late night racing, but the early morning for the Europeans, as we do have quite a lot of Europeans racing with us here at the League by Foxxtecca. We've obviously got the African American Automotive Association, as well as the Dakins Designs, bringing a couple of designs designs to some drivers who don't have dedicated design teams. They will obviously provide with their services to bring some great designs out onto the grid. Superlap is obviously also here. You'll see their name as we see it for a perfect example there on the Hulsband's car, on a couple of the phase cars around the track, the Golden Falcons, and they're also one of the sponsors here at the league by Foxxtecca. So it's great to see all of our amazing sponsors chipping in here to the league and continuing this amazing series with I'm not going to lie to you, a very, very nice prize pool coming in for our drivers to bring it home after the 8 rounds. But so far, round number 1, we are all the way at starting mark, and the drivers need to prove themselves here in the grounds, but also not push themselves too hard to the point where they ruin themselves so early on in the season.
Yep, and that's going to be the critical thing, isn't it? Because your championship can get off on the front foot, but it can also get off on the wrong foot as well. So let's see what will happen moving forward in this championship. Obviously, we start here at Spa. We then head over to, I think it's Portimao of Algarve next week. Indeed it is. That's Format A as well, so the same format as tonight. That is the 1 hour race. We continue that going into the Canadian Motorsport circuit for Format A. Then we head to Interlagos for our first of 3 Format B races this season. So Format B is and if I just find what the different formats are, so that I can explain to our viewers what they are. So as we know, Format A is an hour-long length race in which it's 60% fuel tank capacity, where the starting grid is determined by the qualifying times. Format B is a 25-minute sprint race, if you will. As you can see the rest of the circuits, by the way, on the calendar on screen now. Format B, which will be the first one at Interlagos, is a 25-minute sprint race determined by qualifying time with the B point system. So it basically halves the points of the A format for that. But obviously, because there's 2 races, you have that chance of still scoring if you win both races, the same as Format A. That is their 100% fuel tank capacity, so probably not the need for pit stops in that race as qualifying comes to an end. With the second race being 30 minutes long, grid determined by the race results of race 1, but the top 8 positions are inverted. So qualifying done, we'll get you the grid order, and that's the difference in the race formats.
Yeah, the grid order did change up slightly towards the end. The man who moved from the Corvette seems to be showing the same dominance in the Mustang. Molly Joff jumps it up to the top with the 216.053. Gabriel Ivanov also gets just up ahead of Niklas Laubisch, who gets himself into 3rd for the Fiercely Forward team. Rodrigo meets a new driver into 4th. Rafael DeSantis, he's into 5th position currently, and Andrea Muscolino in 6th position. Denis Grabowski 7th with Avelo Boyshev in 8th position from Israel. Yon Neshev down 9th with Tyler Carr in 10th. Kevin Rolled from the Superlap Phase team 11th, and Luigi De Lassio in 12th position.
Yeah, Gael Valero is P13 from Eric Holzband. Great to see him return in the Superlap Phase car, 14th place. Rossellini Mattis is a privateer in P15. Elon Johnson is in 16th place. Justin Hodge from Russell Soto. Great to see Russell Soto back out there in 19th. Walter Dunk alongside Ty Dunnett. Javier Sierra in 21st from Juliet Johnson. Gabriel Jones alongside our AM champion, Maya Dianarine.
Yeah, and they're just a little bit more to go. Not as big as the AMs, but still a lot. And from 25th, it is Ed Eisenring with Anthony Cuthbert down 26. Ariel Julian, 27th. And David Toth, a very fast driver that we witnessed from Season 1 and 2, down 28th. I believe no qualifying time that he was able to achieve, unfortunately. He also hasn't gridded as of yet, as well as Eric Hulsband, Kevin Rolled, Ivelo Boyshev, Niklas Laubisch, Rodrigo Meets. All of those drivers have not gridded as of yet. There we see Niklas Laubisch now gridding. So a couple of drivers coming very late to the grid, and hopefully all of them do come. Rafael DeSantis is on. Kevin Rold is onto the grid. Eric Hulsband is on. It looks like we've got all of our drivers onto the grid, and we can begin the starting procedure. You can see the gantry lights have officially shown up. The pace car will lead the cars up towards the bus stop chicane, where we will prepare for the start of this. A couple of brake dragging and tire warming techniques will be used here by the GT3 class cars. They do want to prepare themselves coming into La Source, and obviously the long run off into Eau Rouge. The question is now, Matthew, are we going to be seeing the same thing we saw in the AMs, where we saw the leader absolutely jumping from the 2nd and 3rd spots, or do we think that Ivanov and Laubisch are going to be able to keep up with Joffia on the launch?
Well, this is going to be the interesting one, isn't it? Because we saw in the AM category that Evan Davis managed to get away so quick at the start that he managed to almost put the daylight between himself and second place of what was Ahmet Om at the time. So this is the chance now for our defending pro champion here of Marley Joff to try and get a good start and get away here, because we know what El Rouge and Radion can provide at times. But let's see what Marley Joff can do in this dominated Ford Mustang field as they exit the final corner. They have to stick to a certain delta till the lights go green. Looks pretty even as they come towards the line, and Marley Joff pulls the hammer now and once again has absolutely nailed this start. So similar to the AM series, Marley Joff gets away really, really well, and he's going to lead down in towards the source for the first time. It looked like they was about to go 3 wide, and in the background everybody comes filtering through the field, and Marley Joff though has got the start he needed in this race and can now try and check out.
Yeah, great start there from Joff. We saw the pull-off there. He really caught Ivanov off guard, and so much to the fact that Ivanov has gone all the way down to 4th position. Rodrigo Meets took a bit of a dive down the outside of Arouge. He's dropped all the way down to 10th position now as he goes off the track and had to rejoin a couple of slowdowns coming in. That's from Meets and Russell Soto a bit further down in 17th position. But DeSantis has gotten himself up into 2nd, followed by Laubich. So he's managed to get himself back onto the podium spots. Now Gabriel Ivanov trying to bring himself back up towards the top 3 podium here. But it's going to be a difficult fight with Marley Joff already pulling the traction. You can see Laubich right on the backside of DeSantis there. The Italian driver, also new to the league here by Foxxtecca. And he's already under pressure, like I mentioned, from the aggressive German driver of Laubich. Aggressive in a good way. He knows how to put the pressure on our drivers. So far, the drivers make it through Sector 1 and midway through Sector 2. Relatively clean as we see all of them coming down. He has the move though. There's Kevin Rold just up on the inside as we saw it coming into Puon, and a couple of positions being made. Grabowski's lost out to Carr as we see lots and lots of drivers making shifts throughout the field, but still keeping the good fighting path up to 19th with 9 positions gained here from the Seshay Esports team. And again, the beautiful rosed up livery on the left and right hand side. He's fighting as much as he can to gain as much as possible in the starting phase, looking for another one on the inside. We have Russell Soto. Is he going to have the space to do it onto the back straight coming up towards Blanchimont? He's going to have the inside line and he's going to have the rotation in the Mustang. He does blip though, but it looks like he's going to be fine.
Looks like he's going to be fine as they're nearly 4 wide, just behind David Toth here with Ty Dunnett, Russell Soto, Dunk and Jones as well. So going 2 by 2 in towards Blanchimont. They approach now. Toth on the back of Hodge in the Ferrari. Toth is trying to gain 11 places on this opening lap of the race here. There's a slow car there. That's Ty Dunnett with a slowdown, and Toth up the inside for the second part of the bus stop chicane. If he keeps the car there though for that of Hodge, he could have had the inside line into the source, but David Toth up 11 spots in 1 lap. He is seriously going to be in contention. It's a shame he didn't qualify, because what could he have done at the front of the grid on this opening lap of the race? But Marley Joff and DeSantis got away well. Ivanov, his man, under pressure as side by side here. Johnson and Holzband going at it up through El Rouge. They go in towards Radian. Elon Johnson, has he got the move done? A couple of slowdowns for Neshev and Rold. And Johnson there moves up yet another position. He's up 3 and gets past Rold.
Yeah, great move there coming from Johnson and moving up just ahead of Rold. And Rold's losing a couple of positions there due to that yellow flag slowdown, which he got through coming up Arouge, just cutting over the track limits there. It's not what you want to do when the grid is so packed. This early on in the race, you do lose a couple of positions with those slowdowns. You can see it in the background. It is still immensely fierce with drivers moving up. Toth is up 13 positions now with this move. If he can make it around the outside of Kevin Rold, is he going to be able to hold it? He's now going to have the inside coming up towards Puon, and my goodness, 13 places up, not even onto lap number 3, and Toth is into the top 15 here from the back of the grid. This man means business for the Sesha Esports team. He's down 1 comrade as we don't have Ballas Pally here anymore, but he's doing it all solo and doing it incredibly well and pushing on strong. You can see there's Eric Halsband. He's got a bit of a camera going on down in 19th. He's gotten himself another slowdown here. Unfortunately, that was after the fight he just had there with Soto, cutting over there by Puon. He's going to have to take the outside line there and losing over 3 positions through that sector. Unfortunately, Halsband, not what you want to see, and a lot of drivers being allowed through. Maya Dianarin the AM champion into 21st as it currently stands. He's 3 places up and holding on strong against the pro fields here, showing that he does indeed belong, pushing on behind Jones and Soto. Let's see that Mayo Dianorine in that beautiful Dio Racing team colors can do something here on the backside. Will we see a dive from the AM champion on the rear end side of the Mustang? He's got the slip, looks up the inside. Here comes the potential dive from Mayo Dianorine. He's got the traction from the helicopter view. He's not going to have the correct racing line here, and he actually gets pushed out wide. He's going to be completely off circuit here, but still great fighting nonetheless coming from Mayo Dianorine.
Indeed it is, and the thing to note about this Pro Series is the minute you get a bit of a slowdown, it's going to have a massive effect, because these drivers are all quite close in terms of their pace in this Pro category. So you get one slowdown, you are losing a handful of positions. Marley Joff over a second in front, but this is Gabriel Jones down in 21st on the back of Dianorine. They've got Ty Dunnett just on the back of them. Gabriel Jones trying every way he can to get through at the top of El Rouge through Radion, and that's Ford Mustang looking mighty at the moment. Holzband trying to come back at Dunnett. Side by side goes Jones and Dianorine. Holzband and that of Dunnett in the background go side by side. Holzband's got through, and Dianorine somehow hangs on in there. Gravel being kicked up on the com chicane. A little bit of a contact there from Gabriel Jones on the rear of Dianorine, but they both keep facing the right way.
Yeah, looks like someone just went off at the exit of the Kemmel Straight, went left into the wall there, and I saw them dropping off the timings tower, but I'm not too sure who it was. Might have been Ty Dunnett. Indeed it is. He's down 28th here. So this is Ty Dunnett on the inside line in another very interesting Mustang livery. I believe there was a bit of a switch. Oh, that looks like a... Okay, I thought that was a disconnect for a second. And it might have, I think, maybe a little bit of hardware failure coming up there from Ty Dunnett. Looked like he completely drifted to the left there, as if he completely lost all steering. And so that is so unfortunate for Ty Dunnett. Further behind, though, Ed Eisenring, he's down 24th position currently, holding against the Porsche there of Anthony Cuthbert. The only place the Porsche has somewhat of a battling opportunity is here through the ending of Sector 2 and then the main of Sector 3. Unfortunately, here on the main straight is where the Porsche is going to struggle a little bit, especially with the current BOP at hand. Same with the McLaren behind as of Juliet Johnson. And we're going to see Eisenring in that Mercedes try and pull a bit of a gap. Back up to the top, though, Elon Johnson now holding on the right-hand side from the Race 4 G Sports team and pushing against Neshev now into the right-hander they go. Back swinging towards the left of the bus stop. He's gotten a bit of a better run here. Onto the backside of Neshev he's going to go. And will he be able to do it? As we do see Johnson pushing on strong. Is it going to be a dive? No, it's not. He brakes slightly earlier to avoid the contact, but now coming down to Rouge could be a potential attacking opportunity.
It could indeed, and once again, if you're just joining us live, this is a fixed setup championship, so most of these Ford Mustangs will not be able to change anything. So this will be a lot down to driver skill and ability, with the majority of the field running the Ford Mustang. This means that if you have the advantage over the other Ford, it's down to driver skill and ability in this race, and provided you're on your day and on a bit of form, as here we see that of Valero making up another move, moving up into 9th position. So up 4 now for Valero. So a nice little move there from the 33 Mustang, as Delasio then just dropping down another place. Still up 2 as that's a car off in the background. Excuse me, that is Neshev, who has gone off in the background there, and that's allowed Toff yet another place through, and Neshev tumbling down the standings at the moment in this race. The thing you'll notice with the pro races here, these gaps may stay pretty close throughout the entirety of it and throughout bigger chunks of this field, where places don't necessarily chop and change as often, because the drivers are going to try and force the other ones into an error. But these are the pro category drivers for a reason, because they know what they're doing. Not that the AMs don't know what they're doing, but their I rating is so much more. Like Tristan was saying earlier, in the 9,000s, it's the experience these pro drivers carry through the field here, which is where they know their trade and have learnt the tricks of the trade by racing in some of the best iRacing events, and also by racing some of the best drivers.
Yeah, I mean, not to say the speed differences it will obviously be different with the iRating, but like we mentioned, the primary benefactor there is going to be the experience, and we even saw it with that Mustang battle that came in coming into La Source. You just saw the patience, rather, from the driver behind, to just slow down, and instead of trying to do a risky lunge, rather prepare yourself for the straight coming up, in which you might benefit from a bit of a long running. And that all just comes down to experience of testing different attacking angles as a driver behind, and that only comes with continuously playing the game and feeling the cars, and obviously building up your driver rating. Back up to the top though, with that beautiful purple and white livery coming from Gabriel Ivanov from Negative Delta. Simgedo GG on the sponsorship there. Nicholas Labish a bit further down in 5th. He's unfortunately lost a bit of stride there as Mascalino has gotten up ahead, and so the 2 Italian drivers there coming up strong. From the, I believe that's his Tulum Res, apologies, on the white curbing there. And I believe is that Tulum or Tatum? One of the two, I believe it's Tatum Res Tech coming in from there. And that's Andrea Mascalino in 4th position. He's currently pushing on behind Ivanov. And you can see that getting closer and closer as they go. But Ivanov putting pressure on DeSantis as well. So we could potentially see a couple of positions being gained here. Rodrigo Meats got that slowdown earlier and now fighting with Delasio. And now going a little bit wide. These two really putting the door to door. And that's contact. What a catch by Rodrigo Meats to not land up in the barrier. That is the experience we are talking about. And Meats getting forced off, but not losing the battle today, and manages to save the Mustang from the grasp of the barrier.
Yeah, and somehow it didn't put it in the tyre wall. So like you say, Meats there just able to keep it going. The thing, yeah, like we've just been told by our producer, Jim Cunningham, he's now got the experience and the rapid driver of David Toth behind him, who's already climbed up so many places, 15 in fact in this race. And David Toth is no slouch in these cars. He's been running at the sharp end of the field every season in the league by Foxxtecca, and no doubt this season is going to be another chance for David Toft to try and take that crown. Yet to win. In fact, no, did he win season 1 or was that his teammate? I can't remember if it was Toth or his teammate. I can't remember the teammate's name in season 1. Either way, Toth has been in there or thereabouts in both seasons so far, and he's up 15 places, and he fancies the look here at maybe just another one to end lap number 5 in P number 12.
Yeah, season number 1 was David Toth and Ballas Palla, the 2 Seche Esports drivers.
Yes.
Quite frankly, I also can't remember which of the 2 won. I believe it was Toth who came out on top, but they were very, very close in terms of points. And so David Toth last season didn't really get what he wanted in season 2. And now season number 3 with the switchback on the bus stop, taking a slightly alternative line. And look at the run he's gotten on Delasio, moving up into 12th. This is 16 positions up. He's got the outside line into La Source, but he's going to have the better rundown if he gets the exit. And look at the exit speed he gains on Delasio. And that is just proving why David Toth holds 10K I rating. You do not get a lot of people who get up to that 10K I rating board, and David Toth has now held it for 3 consecutive seasons, and that just proves with the experience gained. What an incredible move there from David Toth. Back up to the top there, Rafael DeSantis. He's holding as much as he possibly can, but Ivanov is getting right up on the backside of the Italian driver's bumper. Mascalino behind the other Italian. It's a bit of a sandwich as it stands for Ivanov, and quite frankly, the flags look very similar if you look at it on the live timings tower. He's kind of like a twisted, looking a bit like a twisted Italian in between the 2 of them as it stands for Gabriel Ivanov. But he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to try and compete here, because the top 5, highly competitive. Unfortunately, Molly Joff, 2.7 seconds ahead. We're seeing a similar result to what Evan Davis did in the AMS. And Molly Joff just finding the traction, not only in the Corvette, but the Mustang now as well.
Yeah, finding the traction in the Mustang and just setting off like he ended last season. Nicholas Laubish on the back of this train for P2 at the moment. So this is 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th all in this little train. You can see DeSantis there leading it from Ivanov, from Muscolino, and then this of Nicholas Laubish. Italian, Bulgarian, Italian and then German. And his mate, Deanna Reen's actually moved up to P20. Nicholas Laubish as well has shown at times he's got great pace over these last 2 seasons, but at times as well he's just been caught up in some unfortunate events that have dropped him down the order quite a bit. As here's Justin Hodge in the Sol Ferrari 296 getting himself past Eric Holzbahn there. So Holzbahn losing out another position, and Hodge making his way through in the SR Motorsports car. So doing pretty well at the moment is that of Justin Hodge. He's down 4 places, but Hodge will be looking to try and get this at the moment. The top 19 cars, we've just been told, are all Ford Mustangs, showing the dominance of the Ford Mustang in this series. As here goes Holzbahn trying to defend now as well as attack from... Not only that, who's that off? That's Russell. So who's had an off at the chicane.
Yeah, Soto just coming off onto the exit of the back straight into the bus stop chicane. I wonder what's happened there. And there he's recovered himself, but he's lost a couple of places with that incident, possibly missing the braking marker into the bus stop and trying to avoid. Let's have a bit of a replay. Let's have a look. So this is Russell Soto. Obviously behind is another Mustang driver and coming up towards bus stop. Here comes the brakes. Who's diving on the inside? That's nothing Soto can do. That is a very, you do not expect to see that in the pro. I'm not going to lie to you. That was a bit of a Neshov, I believe Neshov, a bit of an aggressive drive. Yo Neshev in the negative delta. Don't really expect those kind of things. A little bit too late on the brakes. And just decides to continuously bend inwards, and definitely knew he could not make the overtake. He had it on the red Mustang up in front, but just not enough legs to make a double overtake, and that's completely affected Soto's race. And the stewards might be having a bit of a look at that one. At this level of competitiveness, that is regarded as somewhat unacceptable. So let's hope we don't get to see that again coming from any of our drivers. Heading into the 15-minute mark now, 45 minutes left of racing, about 15 minutes until the pit windows start to open up, and we see the pit strategies coming into play.
Yeah, and that's going to make it interesting, especially in this Pro Series. Undercut, overcut, which is going to be the quickest one for these drivers. But here is Muscolino then. He's been overtaken by Nicholas Laubish. So Laubish has moved up an extra position in this race at the moment, and Andrea Muscolino is trying to stay onto the back of the German driver, who's still there with DeSantis. Ivanov's moved up into second place, actually, ahead of DeSantis. So change there for second and third place as well. But while all these cars start battling, you can just see that the cars in the background, look, Valero car, Grabowski, the Israeli driver of Boyshev, is also gaining onto the rear of this train. So just making it longer and allowing Toff to try and get a little closer to make up more moves. This is what happened with Ivanov in the pass for second, gets the run up Eau Rouge and through Radion in a bit of slipstream, pulls to the outside line coming down the Camel straight. Ivanov in the purple and white on the left hand side of screen now, breaks a little bit later round the outside, and you see there Nicholas Laubish having a look up the inside as well, and a fantastic move from Ivanov there to get around the outside at the opening part of Le Com. And Laubish got up the inside at Le Com, and he also made a move.
Yeah, a good little double overtake we got to witness there. So Ivanov and Laubish moving up one position each respectively, and both of them advance forwards to try and gain up towards Ivanov. Unfortunately, the question for Joff is somewhat out of the question as it stands with a 4-second gap. I hope Joff doesn't have any major sponsors on his car. There we get a little bit of a preview. Don't want no Max Verstappen situation in 2022 where none of the sponsors got shown and they got all angry because Marley Joff currently running away from with the WSR Esports car, like he also somewhat did last season. And continuing to push on strong now for the rest of it. 4 seconds around about, and the rest behind, right? The issue is that they're going to continue to fight here. Ivanov to DeSantis to Laubish to Muscolino, and Boychev might even join in on that battle for 6, and that's just allowing for Joff to continuously put the legs on. He's got the clean air, he's got no one to fight, the tires are not being worn as fast. He's having an ideal race right now to run away with it, and it's exactly what he's doing. Back towards the backside, here's Neshev, who made that dive a couple of minutes ago. He's made it past Rolled into 15th position, now chasing on to Matisse up in 14th in that orange Mustang as they continue to push on. Hodge gets himself a yellow flag. That's a slowdown down in 23rd. I believe he tried to make a move around Soto in 23rd and just made a bit of an error there. Off the track he goes. And with around 17 minutes in there, we see Nicholas Laubish. He's got a lot of pressure from Muscolino behind. Could we see a potential dive here from Muscolino coming into the bus stop chicane here? You can see Laubish holding that inside line. He's defending and hoping that that inside does not get penetrated from Andrea Muscolino, and it does not indeed. So good defense coming from Laubish. The fiercely forward driver continues pointing forward towards DeSantis, and let's hope that we could see some competitive racing up front here between the second to the 6th position.
Yeah, and this is interesting now, look, because look at the train of cars all the way down to Grabowski in P9, nearly into Metz in P10. So Grabowski at the moment on the back of this train, all behind that of Ivanov in second place. So a real interesting train of cars at the moment. A beautifully looking colour scheme on Grabowski's car. But this all just kind of plays into that favour of David Toff. We know how good Toff can do at how good Toff is, at overtaking. He's only 1.9 off of Metz, and the more the Chilean driver gets onto the back of this pack, the more that this is going to allow David Toth to just get onto the back of the pack and make some of them beautiful overtakes that we know Toth can make.
Well, the thing is, Toth last lap was already 3.5 tenths faster than Meat, so we are potentially going to see a gain here from Toth. If he continues at Neshev, getting door-to-door there with Matisse as they go through into the second sector after the Kemmel Straight and continuously putting pressure on each other. Unfortunately, it didn't stick out to the plan for him there as Rossellini Matisse holds the defensive line, and just behind now, Dunk is getting involved. He's actually going to find the inside line here against Neshev, and it's going to turn into a three-way battle. The flashes are coming from Neshev. He's not very happy with the defense coming in there from Matisse, but this is some hardcore racing. We get to see Rold is also going to join in on this battle behind. You can see he's slowly but surely closing in between these three. And for the time being, it is Matisse to Neshev to Dunk, all three Mustang drivers, and you can see Neshev is getting a little bit aggressive here. He's starting to really point the nose towards the inside, trying to find any possible gap to lunge on Matisse. He's already not satisfied with the defense from the orange Mustang, and that's actually damage on the front right there of Matisse. You can see it, that front right wheel sticking out a little bit too much, and that's not something you want to see there. So that's a possible front bumper damage that might affect his drag on the straight. This is all going to be to prove it now. Another flash coming from Neshev, so he's really not happy with this, and he's possibly going to try and make a dive here. He's got the top speed advantage with the aero damage, and let's see what's going to happen. Hopefully Neshev can make it clean this time around, and it looks like Matisse is going to go defensive on the inside line. He has to pick the outside, but Matisse, what incredible defense. He goes wide though, unfortunately, and I don't think he's going to have the exit speed over Neshev, but Neshev spins slightly on exit with the rear wheels there, and he's actually losing out now to Dunk as well. This is incredible three-way fighting for the top 15 spot.
Yeah, Neshev there, I think his flasher light must have been broken at the end of that by how many times he pressed it, but he manages to get through at La Source, moves up another position, and that is yet Neshev now, who's now got to be the car that can try and pull away in this little train. But Matisse here is sticking to the back of him, coming up through Eau Rouge and Radion. That slipstream will be fully locked in, almost bump drafting him down the Kemmel Straight. Looking to the right, there is not a piece of tarmac in sight to the right hand side. He's going to have to go to the left. He sticks to the right hand side, pulls to the left now. That of Neshev comes across, leaves just a car's width on that outside. Still side by side they go through the complex here at Le Combe. And somehow Neshev gets through, and Dunk just manages to capitalise on a move there. Now Matisse tries to have a look again, and he's going to lose out to Kevin Rold. Round the outside, does Rold go? No, he can't hold on to it, but Matisse coming unstuck once again.
Yeah, very competitive between the 14th spot here, as unfortunately Rossellini Matisse does not get the advantage through the second sector. That front aero damage has really proven a little bit of a disadvantage on the straight, because we saw such a gain from Dunk, and he obviously made the move coming into that second sector battle, and now it looks like Neshev's getting a little bit of distance. He's starting to create a bit of a pillow there behind from Dunk, and then Matisse unfortunately losing a little bit of time there with that damage. He's going to have to hold on though if he wants to try and keep a competitive stride going on here between these top fighters. We do have a potential overtake coming up. Mascalino in fifth position is dead on the backside of Laubisch, and this is coming up towards the bus stop chicane now. Is he going to try and find a gain here? Unfortunately not, and he does lose out slightly on the exit there, but Mascalino very, very close to potentially making an attacking stance here. The still, like we mentioned, second down to ninth is one long train. My goodness, look at the unison of different Mustang colors as they head down to La Source. It is one long train of Mustangs trying to battle it out to prove who is best. Unfortunately, Joff has already claimed the top spot for it at the time being, but there's still second up for grabs. Where does David Toth sit? He was 1.9 seconds away 2 laps ago, 1.2 seconds now to Meats. Just 2 laps after, he is gaining lap by lap on the backside of Meats, and we could potentially have Toth joining in on this battle before the end of the 1 hour mark here. Even more battling from Soto and Sierra coming out of La Source down towards Eau Rouge, and there is so much so much battling going on coming out of Eau Rouge, but it looks like Javier Sierra is going to have to settle for 23rd as Soto just gets ahead.
Yeah, and the interesting thing here now is we're about 1 lap away from that pit window really opening. 25 minutes to around about the 35-minute mark is when drivers could really or should really pit, because that'll get them to the end of the race at least. So drivers at the moment will be looking to maybe start pitting at the end of this one. And you look at that train between second of Ivanov down to Grabowski and P9, that could be the window to get an undercut or try to get an undercut in, because if you could pit in there and get the undercut done, then it could be an advantage to you moving up a couple of positions. Here we are with Gael Valero, the French driver. You can see in the face camera there as well, so pushing through in P8 on the back of Carr, who's just now started to drop off the back of Boyshev, the Israeli driver, in P6 at the moment. That's just got over a second in distance, so just a little bit of a gap forming between a few of these drivers now, with the top 6 all being nose to tail.
Yeah, and we've got to talk about the dedication again from our drivers here. We just obviously saw the cam there of Gael Valero, and he sits in France right now, which is roughly the same time zone as Matthew there in the UK. So it's roughly anywhere there between 3 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the morning currently. And this man is on the rig trying to set the lap times and compete in the league by Foxxtecca. So that just shows you the competitiveness and the dedication coming from the European drivers to get on the rig early morning, set those alarms, and get onto the racing, and then obviously still have all this competitiveness and the energy to continue pushing on. Obviously, the American driver sitting somewhere in the evening timer, and Mascalino, he's going down. He's this has turned into quite a long blink. Yeah, it looks like Mascalino is not returning. He's lost connection to the server, and what we thought was a bad blink has turned into an even worse turnout, as Mascalino now completely disconnecting from the server, not returning to his original position. That is very unfortunate for the new Italian driver. He's going to drop off completely and lose out on that top 5 battle.
Yeah, and what a shame for him, because he was going so well for Mascalino. But that is the problem. Same for the Italian drivers, like you were saying about the French drivers. It's 3:15 in the morning for the French and the Italian drivers. Marley Joff in the UK, it's 2:15. And obviously, our good friends over in Africa, where Tristan is, it's about 4:15 in the morning, I do believe. 3:15, 4. There you go, 3:15. So on the same time zone, the French and Italians as yourself. So, great dedication to them. To being up. Now, exactly, our producer's saying he gets no love because it's only 9:15 in the evening. Damn right he gets no love. It's 9:15. It doesn't need the roasted record coffee sending over to us, isn't it, Tristan?
Yeah, no, I think with the whole bundle that gets sent to the broadcast team, we can just take Jim's and just split it in half. I feel like Jim's not a coffee guy for some reason, but also it's 9 o'clock, so he doesn't need coffee. He doesn't need coffee, so he can split it across to myself and Matthew. We need the jet fuel to run across for the rest of Roasted Records. If you're hearing this, I'm serious about that proposition.
Oh, 100%.
No matter how high the postal fees are to the UK and South Africa, you got to make it happen.
Chris, Mike, man, if you're listening, we need some coffee sent to myself and to Tristan. Chris Harris has been bigging up your coffee for the last 2 seasons. We need some coffee sending over here. We've heard it's absolutely amazing coffee as well. So if you are in America and on Era Roasted Records coffee shop, make sure you go and try some of their coffee out, because we've been told it's absolutely fantastic. We're just being told where they're going to be in Stewart, Florida. Langley, you're in the chat. You're in Florida. If Stewart's near you, go and get yourself some Roasted Records coffee about an hour from Jim. Yeah, you've just moved down to Florida as well. But if Roasted Records sends us some coffee beans out here, I can't wait to try a cup, because I've heard it's absolutely delicious.
Yeah, I mean, I'll even fire up the good old single channel coffee machine, brew up a good cup that will keep us running throughout the next 7 weeks. But in any case, even if they don't send, we'll just settle for our instant coffee and make sure that we're still here bright up in the early morning to watch Rafael dos Santos make the moves on the outside line, as Laubish is finding gaps on the outside there in the yellow Mustang. And Ivanov, unfortunately, under pressure now. He had a little bit of space given from the drivers behind, but now Laubish, as well as dos Santos and Boyshev actually behind, have all gained, and a little bit of contact between the two of them. This is going to give an inside line to Boyshev, and he's actually going to be side by side now between himself and DeSantis. This could be contact between the two of them if they aren't careful, but this has allowed for Laubish to run away. He's put 5/10 of a leg space between himself and DeSantis, and now he's got the opportunity to chase down on Ivanov. Ivanov has got to set some perfect laps here to keep away, because we are approaching the 30-minute mark. The pit stop window is going to be coming in soon. He just needs to hold off Laubish before he goes into the pit lane to properly get the benefit of his pit stop strategy, but it's going to be difficult. Laubish, a very aggressive driver from behind, very intimidating, almost looking like a Hornets car from behind, and obviously the Lion of Gabriel Ivanov's car just up in front, trying to lead the charge in the Mustang for second position. Yeah, we've got lots of Lion liveries on the field, so it seems like it's the roaring factor here across the board for all of our drivers as they continue to push. guys, come on. You at this early in the morning, we got to keep ourselves entertained with some good jokes.
So we got the golden pigeons and the yellow puppy dogs on the side of the car. The yellow kitty cats actually on the side of the car. So yeah, we got all the animals out there this evening, and being told in the chat by number one Fin fan that Tanner Nebo from the Am series, he lives in Stuart. So there you go, Tanner. Get yourself down to Roasted Records. Get yourself some coffee. Pick me up and send me some, Tanner, if you're listening in the chat. But what a race this is. And you were saying earlier that Laubish is an aggressive driver in a good way. You've just seen it there. He does not leave an inch. You give him an inch, he'll take a mile out on that circuit. If there's a bit of tarmac that he can stick the nose inside, you guarantee that Laubish is going to look for that. As he's on the back of Ivanov now, coming down the Kemmel Straight, bump drafting his way, literally tapping the rear of Ivanov down in towards the Lacombe chicane, and Laubish will look for any little bit of weakness in your driving to try and pounce and capitalise on that manoeuvre as they come through towards the hairpin again. No, and that's the thing. As our producer says, he doesn't do anything stupid. He really doesn't. He's aggressive in such a good way. Almost like an Ayrton Senna type driver. Aggressive, but just looks for them gaps to make them work.
Well, he's a part of the correct team for it, though. Fiercely forward, not fiercely side by side. He's continuously trying to push to get ahead of his opponents, but like we say, he's doing it with absolute stride. And we saw it in Season 2 as well, where Laubish had multiple occurrences of very good battles with some people, but really putting the pressure and sometimes even forcing errors from his opponents. So we might be seeing that again in season number 3. 7 weeks left to go of this, and hopefully this is one thing that Laubish didn't have, and it was unfortunately consistency in season number 2. Laubish did miss quite a couple of rounds in season number 2, which is why we saw him planted quite far down on that leaderboard. Very good driver, but just unfortunately wasn't there for every single race, unlike someone like Marley Joff and Ivanov, who were there for every race.
And to add to that, Tristan, as well, is there were some races where he got caught up in some horrendous incidents that just put him on the back foot for the rest of the night.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. He also just had his unluck of turn of events. Is this going to be a dive from DeSantis? No, it's not. He had a look on the inside of the line livery there of Nicholas Laubish. And he's also a Lion. I didn't realize Laubish, I called him a Hornet. He's also a Lion. They're all Lions, and they're all pushing up. So this is a good look for the African continent. We got a bunch of Lions at our safari. Come on, we're promoting it. Let's go. But
there we go.
In front, the
pit stops. David Toth, first man into the pits.
There we go.
So, can the Lions roll their way to the front? Can one of the Lions be the Lion King by the end of this season? Well, they've got to try and stop Marley Joff, who's 6.8 seconds up the road. It's 20.
What if our producer can clearly get the sound? No, I don't think he can. That's too much pressure. That would be great.
Yeah, there we go. Marley Joff then out front. Nicholas Laubish. Well, he doesn't need the inside this time around as he makes the outside of the Lacombe chicane. And there we go. The German driver pouncing his way into second place.
Yeah, that is incredible stuff. And like we said about him, he finds the tarmac. Whether it's the inside or the outside line, he is going to pounce and he makes it work. And what a great move there from Laubish. And what we're talking about, Ivanov just needed to hold him before the pit stop window. And he's just missed out from it. They're probably all going to come in at the end of this lap it is the 33-minute mark. The pit window is roughly 29 to 35 minutes. And so we are going to probably be seeing all of these drivers come in. Laubish has now got the best chance of staying in second if he gets a good pit stop strategy here. And unfortunately, Ivanov has now been chucked dead into the grips there of the Italian driver of DeSantis. He's right on the backside yet again. And so this is going to be a good four-way fight. But Laubish now has that front charge. The Lion up in front. He's got that moment to try and run away the number 12 car. And let's hope that he can keep the stride coming. The biggest question is now, when they come towards the bus stop chicane, are we going to see drivers pulling far left and then dipping into the right-hand side, into the pit lane, or are we going to go for one more lap, which will give Ivanov one more potential opportunity to get up in front before the pit stop windows? Here we come up towards Blanchimont. And we see our drivers pushing up towards bus stop chicane. Squirming a little bit there is Ivanov, trying to find a potential gap on the inside coming towards the pits. And looks like our drivers indeed are coming in. All four of them follow in the same train. And Laubish now has the best opportunity to come out on top. Oh!
I'm not surprised as there's a bit of contact there as the train just kind of congested up into the pit lane, almost a domino effect there. I'm not surprised everybody's pitting this lap. 35 minutes is roughly the 60% tank limit. There's no way they'd have got round to do one extra lap. So, yeah, for me, it's no surprise to see them in now. And, yeah, this is now going to be an interesting one in this race to see who gets the pit stop. But keep your eyes on Toth, who was the first of the pit runners and is currently in 13th place. Morley Joff is on the pit lane exit. Is this the strategy of the century from David Toth here? A few cars on the pit exit. Morley Joff has been released from the pit lane. So has Laubish, so has Ivanov, so has Boyshev and Valero. But look at David Toth up into the top 10. Might be P8 on the pit exit as they come through. He'll have tyres up to a nice warm temperatures while the others would have just cooled off a little as they exit the pit lane.
Yeah, and I mean, we even saw that DeSantis actually having a bit of a bad pit stop. He missed his pit box and had to reverse a bit, and that's made him lose out a couple of positions there. He's lost out to Grabowski, and unfortunately, Grabowski putting it a little bit earlier, he got the undercut, and now we're talking about it. Here comes up. I think he came out net where he went, but like Matthew mentioned, he does have the slightly warmer tires over the rest of the drivers who came in now. So Toth needs to use it to his advantage. The Mustangs up in front will be using this first and second sector to get that car back up to speed and warm it up. This is a potential to attack here, and you can already see he's putting the pressure on the backside here of Meats, and we could potentially be seeing something here, but he's also playing it smart. He doesn't want to risk anything here by making an aggressive move that could push him further down the line. There is still 25 minutes to go, which is ample time for Toth with the very, very close packed grid all the way up from 2nd to 10th that he can work with here. So this is time now for Toth to put his head down and make up some positions.
The thing is, as well, is it's put him closer to this top 10 fight as well, as he's looking to the outside line of DeSantis. Going around the outside of Piff Path gives him the second, the inside line for the second part, moves up into P9. Now he's onto the back of Meats as well. So can he get himself up into P8? You can just see the confidence of Toth, who's he makes such elegant overtakes as well. He makes them look so easy. He's kind of the polar opposite to Laubish, where Laubish will elbows out, fight his way through the field. Toth at times just puts on such elegant moves and almost makes you make the mistake. He's capable of getting the elbows out for sure. But when he's sort of coming through the field like this, we saw the move earlier on. Look, just pulls to the inside, nice and simple, late on the brakes. He's going to make this car here try and get the bad run out the corner, look. And this is where David Toth plays it sensible. He'll have the inside line into turn 1 of La Source.
Yeah, he's always one step ahead there. I mean, Laubish will take the dive wherever he can, but obviously Toth, with the slightly extended amount of experience, he knows the structure of how certain tracks work. And I mean, look at what he's done there. Obviously gotten a bit of a poor run at a bus stop, but that inside line has forced him onto the inside and now put the likes of Meats under pressure from DeSantis, which gives him a little bit of breathing room from behind. I say that, and Meats is already right on the back end of him, so Meats getting a good run up a Rouge. But here comes DeSantis behind as well, and Toth's got a little bit of a cushion coming up towards it, but this is going to be a three-way battle here. Toth is going to go inside defensive here, and again, you can see, this is getting a little bit dangerous. Do not switch back in between two cars, and Toth is blipping, unfortunately. Again, he's just going to hold the outside line, and he's been tapped. He's been tapped, and
I mean, you could kind of see that coming. The way that DeSantis there chopped in between, the way that was it Metz or DeSantis? It was Meets or DeSantis. Sorry, it was
yes.
either. Yeah, it was DeSantis. The way he chopped between Meets and Toff there, surprised there wasn't any contact at the first time around. We'll get a replay of it now and watch this. That was literally just the gap of a Ford Mustang to get through. And then Toth here leaves that car width. It's almost as if DeSantis here just kind of bounced off the curb a little bit, and it just caught the rear of Toff's car, and around Toff goes.
Yeah, no, that's just super unfortunate. Just a bit too much fade out there from DeSantis. I mean, you can see it here. He's got the inside line, right? He's got the space. He's obviously a front axis to rear axis of Toth. The issue is that he carried just too much speed into the corner and just started drifting out into Toth's space. And Toth gave that inside line space. He was going towards the exit curb, and unfortunately DeSantis just completely breaking that box of space that he's been granted and into the backside of Toth. I mean, fortunate for Toth, a great recovery. I mean, very, very quick to turn that car around and get back on it, but he's lost over 5 seconds now, and he's going to have to fight all the way back up, which unfortunately at this point of the race has ruined his chance of getting up towards Ivanov and Boychev. Maybe he can get up back towards Meets, but this is going to be a long fight that he's going to have to work with. Javier Sierra still on the backside of Jones. They're fighting down for the battle for 18th. Unfortunately, from 23rd down, it's all kind of gotten a bit distant here, and unfortunately this does happen with the pro drivers, is that you'll either have a massive bunch of cars that are very close with each other, or a massive bunch of cars that are very far away from each other, which is what we're seeing from 10th to 14th. The pit stops really did spread a couple of our drivers out depending on their decisions, and that's unfortunately what we have to work with. So let's just hope we can get a couple of nice battles in the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, and I think we will, because we normally see in the Pro Series that they do sort of tend to come back together at the end of this race. Meets still hanging on in there over DeSantis. DeSantis going to try once again onto the back of Meets. He's on the right-hand side of Meets' Ford Mustang as they come in towards Lacombe chicane. There goes DeSantis up through on the inside line of Meets, and manages to hold on to that one as well. So a good job from DeSantis there, moves up yet another place in this race. So cracking job from DeSantis there to manage to get that job that moved on. We've got Ivanov versus Laubish as well for P3 and 2. So another battle raging on, as well as Holzband and Rolled down in 14th and 15th, and Sierra and Jones as well. This is Eric Holzband on the back of Rolled. So we'll see what these two Ford Mustangs can do. But once again here, just another amazing battle in this race that's turning out to be an absolute cracker. And this is the difference, isn't it, between the pros and the AMs. The AMs may go for a few more riskier moves. The pros happy to just sit there and wait at times.
Yeah, definitely. And that's obviously the spacing out happens sometimes, is that they rather will play it safe for the longevity of their point run throughout the championship than taking a risky dive or something that could possibly ruin their race, especially into round number 1, where you'll see the drivers obviously in the beginning phase getting some good points and start running away on the championship board, and that's why you want to try and stay consistent. Talking about running away, it's the man up in front, 6.5 seconds ahead even after the pit stop window for Marley Joff. And correct me if I'm wrong here, Matthew, I don't think he was a part of the WSR esports team last season, so possibly a new signing, unless I just can't remember because of the livery change or the car change.
He was running a darkish grey with like red and blue on his livery last season, so he's definitely running a different livery this year. So maybe it is a new signing for the WSR esports team in Marley Joff, and you know what a driver to sign, because let's be honest, he's done this at the start of this race, hasn't he? He nailed the start. He's been under no pressure since, and he's done it there. Whereas when you compare that to the AM race, you know, Davis got the start, pulled away, did absolutely fantastic, but come under a bit of pressure after the round of pit stops. For Marley Joff, he's just been dominant from the start of this race.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's just going to continue to extend it, and this is going to give him a great stride heading into round number 2 and round number 3 and all the consecutive rounds after that. So, you know, Joff just setting himself up for a good future here for season number 3, and let's hope he can keep that stride. Nicholas Laubish, he's now putting the pressure yet again on Gabriel Ivanov. He unfortunately lost out to second position just a couple of laps back. He was in second, but Ivanov gets that place back. Boychev not able to catch just as much as he would like to. Currently a second basically away from Laubish, so it's going to be a lot of time that he's got to work with. Gael Valera, also another new driver. He's obviously navigated his way up into the top 5, which is great to see. Sierra down in 19th, loses over 3 positions though. Not too sure what happened there. He's just lost out on a bit of a stride, and he's going to have to work back that one. But still, with about 17 minutes left to go, like we mentioned in the AM race, this is going to be your prime overtaking time. It's that final spot, and you can see it. The numbers have started to close up a bit there, Matthew. It's turned more yellow on the live timings board. Here's Mayo Dienery. He's a little bit further down in 21st position. And was this possibly an incident of sort or an overtake? And oh, this is just off into the gravel on the right track. No big deal for him at all, and he continues to push on strong. But this is heading into that primal window for a couple of good overtakes to happen.
Yeah, it is an interesting one to see. Dienery, obviously, he's just got to find his feet in the Pro Series this year, and maybe look to find his feet going into next season. For sure, obviously, he's brand new to the Pro Series after winning the AM. This is Russell Soto, who got spun around early doors, so he's trying to come back in this race at the moment in terms of being able to just pick up some extra points in this race. But Russell Soto will be disappointed with the start of this one for sure. And yeah, look, you kickstart your season, it's only up for here from Russell Soto. We know that this driver has got a good amount of pace about him and can keep on the pace the front runners. Here he goes, a bit of a dive now here on Sierra, and looking to get up the inside, maybe a little bit of contact, nothing too major, and Soto almost backed out of that. Back towards the front though. Here is Boyshev in the white and black Ford Mustang, looking on the rear now of Valero. Just having a little look, another lion proudly roaring through the Ardennes forest at the moment. And yeah, Boyshev just starting to show the nose now. We get into that last 15 minutes, the stage of the race where drivers are just going to look to make their moves here or there.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about moves. Obviously, Gael Valera getting up to the 4th, and Boyshev's going to have to work quite hard if he wants to get back. We're into that final 15 minute on the dot right now, and a couple of spots that will be up for grab. Russell Soto down 20th is about to make an overtake on Sierra in 19th, and there he makes it, heading onto the back of the Kemmel Straight and exiting it. He does get the inside line, and a great run there from Russell Soto to move up on the board from one of the Golden Pigeon drivers there from the Super Apex Phase team. Great move there from Russell Soto. Sierra's going to have to watch out now, because here comes the AM champion of Mayo Dienery. He's just on the backside, followed by Ed Eisenring, just a little bit further behind into that red Mercedes. And then just behind them, obviously, is Hodge, just a bit further as well. He's chasing down in that Ferrari 296, the only 296 currently out on the field, and just trying to make it towards the end. And the rest of the drivers, though, Toth has managed to still maintain 10th. Unfortunately, though, that time of 5.4 seconds is not dropping as it currently stands. It looks like he's going to remain there for the rest of this race if something doesn't happen. Up front, though, Gabriel Ivanov still holding off from Laubish. 4/10 of a difference, though, and Valero's actually catching up to Laubish. It was about a second at just the previous sector. It's come down to 8/10 already, so he's caught 2/10 just in sector 3 onto the backside of Laubish, and that is primarily due to the fact that Laubish is doing everything he can to catch up to Ivanov. And don't forget about Boychev. He's just on the back there in 5th position, also putting pressure on Valero.
Yeah, and I think this is Laubish possibly playing an interesting strategy here by just sitting and waiting in behind to get that slipstream off of that of Ivanov. If he knows he hasn't got the pace to outright pull away from the Bulgarian driver, then he's possibly just thinking and waiting what to do. Sierra's got, I believe, a slowdown. Yes, he has, and Soto has dropped down a couple of places. But Nicholas Laubish, interesting to see this from him. Normally we're seeing him a bit more aggressive to try and get to as far up as he can. But this season so far in race 1, we're seeing a bit more of a patient Nicholas Laubish.
Yeah, he's not too aggressive off the marks, actually, and I mean, that might be beneficial for him as well. He's still showing his aggressive cards there, but using them slightly more wisely. I'm not too sure if we have it on the board there to see what happened to Russell Soto. He did lose a couple of positions, as well as extended it down to 5.2 seconds down in 23rd position. Here's your replay of Russell Soto, and this is coming into just out of Blanchimont, heading up into the bus stop. Was there possibly a bit of contact? And I'm seeing a late dive again. Mayo Dienery. No, we don't expect that from Mayo Dienery, and just late on the brakes, tapping the inside of Russell Soto, and that's going to be front damage for Mayo Dienery that he's got to deal with for the next 10 minutes of this race. but that is unfortunate. Meyer Denarin missing the breaking point again, and like we saw with Neshev, and that is quite a large loss there for Russell Soto.
Yeah, indeed it is, and like you say, we're not used to seeing Denarin make these kind of mistakes, but yeah, it's shame for Denarin, shame for Soto as well. We've only lost Muscolini, and I believe done it in this race as Mercedes-Benz are nearly getting run out of room, and that is Hodge getting past the American driver in the Mercedes of Eisenring then, who was having a Eisenring there, sorry, just losing out to Hodge. And down the order, look, 19th is Denarin Mercedes-Benz, 21st Hodge Ferrari, 22nd Eisenring at Mercedes-Benz. So the Ford's absolutely dominating, and this is where the pros would have done their homework, as we said earlier at the top of the programme. The pros have done their homework. They know what car is probably going to suit most circuits. They know what car is probably the best GT3 car on the iRacing platform. Remember, drivers can change car, but it comes with points deduction. So if they don't feel comfortable, they can do it, but it kind of really wrecks your championship early on. As here comes that of Hodge, looking up the inside of Sierra now into the final bus-stop chicane. Sierra trying to attack that of Denarin, but can't get through. And the Ferrari 296, well, just has to sit patiently behind the Ford Mustang once again.
Yeah, I did read in the virtual grandstand, it was a couple of minutes ago, that someone did mention that the current BOP is 100% pointed towards the Ford Mustang, as in if you do not choose the Ford Mustang, you are basically at a huge disadvantage at this current state in time. I even saw someone asking if the Aston Martin can receive an extra turbo and maybe some more downforce, because that's the issue with that car, is it's just not competitive, and that's why nobody's picked the front engine Aston Martin, is it just doesn't have enough speed and it doesn't have enough downforce for those mid-sector turns. For example, here at Spa-Francorchamps is that Sector 2 and the beginning of Sector 3 will be very difficult for those cars that struggle with the turn-in. And you wouldn't expect it for the Mustang. I mean, it's a massive car, possibly one of the heavier GT3s. It's got a huge 5.6-litre V8 up in front. And somehow it's out-turning a Ferrari, which is kind of crazy, with the Ferrari being the mid-engine, so it should have slightly better, and our producer saying American muscle, and that's completely biased coming from his side, being the American. I won't lie, but he's not wrong, because the Mustang is absolutely dominating the grid as it stands for the time being. But just about 9 minutes left to go. Tyler Carr up in 7th position, with DeSantis behind in 8th position, and looking to get a little bit competitive now between the top 10. Let's hope for a couple more position changes. The launch from DeSantis. Is it going to be too late? He's completely outdone himself. Is he going to have the runoff, though, to defend from Meats? And here comes Tyler Carr as well. A little bit of a mistake there from DeSantis, and he's put himself in a bit of a jeopardized situation. He's going defensive on the right-hand side. This is a very weird behavior coming from DeSantis. He loves going from one side to the other continuously.
Yeah, and he's almost borderline not leaving a car's width, isn't he, on the edge of the circuit as he comes back across in the braking zone, which of course you're allowed to do. You've just got to make sure you leave that space on the outside line. As long as you make one defensive manoeuvre, then come back into the braking zone. Provided you're leaving space, that is totally fine. Hodge picks up a slowdown. Laubish moves back up into 2nd place, but DeSantis is coming under pressure now from Meats and Carr as they both look to slipstream and bump draft each other down the Kemmel straight towards the Calm chicane. They go once again, and DeSantis somehow hangs on from the pair of them.
Yeah, he's definitely finding those inside line. Nicholas Laubish, a little bit of contact on the outside flank there and loses out a little bit, but fortunately catches the car from drifting out any further. No position loss, but he has lost a little bit of time there to Gabriel Ivanov, and Valero is now right on the backside of Laubish. The second place battle has gone from a two-way fight to a four-way fight, because Boychev is even on the backside now. So these 4 cars all fighting for that 2nd place. And similar to what we saw in the AMS with the 2nd place being very contested for, it's the same here in the pros with Ivanov leading the charge. And looks like there was indeed a pass. Obviously, Gabriel Ivanov, he got ahead of Laubish, because Laubish had 2nd position, and Ivanov now moves up into that front spot, and there we just see a little bit of the contact. It was also a little bit netcodey, if you have to ask me, but thankfully no spin around at all from Laubish.
No, not at all, but he'll be disappointed with that, the way that one unfolded, but I'm sure Nicholas Laubish is a man determined to get that 2nd place back. He's driven really well tonight, and fair enough to Ivanov, who has just been on the defensive for so long at the moment. He feels like he's probably raced all race on the defensive manoeuvres in this one. Marley Joff has absolutely checked out, and with 7 minutes left on the clock exactly, that's probably the race done for Marley Joff, barring any mistakes. So we'll see what happens as this race goes on. Commentator's curse right there if I've ever seen it. So hopefully nothing does happen to Marley Joff. But yeah, Nicholas Laubish, he's going to be wanting to carry on pushing and trying to get ahead of that of Ivanov once again, as is this man, Carr, who is Carr and Meats are wanting to get back ahead of DeSantis. Here comes Laubish then, looking for the run up through El Rouge and Radion. Now pulls out of the slipstream to the outside line. He's already gone around the outside of Lecombe twice today, looking to do it a third time. Gets half a car ahead of that of Ivanov. Later on the brakes, round the outside of Lecombe he goes, leaves the space on the first part, gets the space back on the second part. Job done for Nicholas Laubish. Now we'll be hoping that contact isn't there, but Ivanov all of a sudden coming under pressure from Valero, and Valero now looking to move up the inside, can't do so, but Laubish back into second place.
Yeah, so some great racing going on here between these second to fifth position. And what a great move there from Laubish. I mean, super controlled. And usually that outside line on the exit of the Kemmel Straight gets a little bit risky depending on the inside line. But you can see that there's a lot of trust between these pro drivers, as Laubish trusts that Ivanov will hold his line steady. And indeed he did. So Laubish moves up back into second. Valero now has his best possible chance at moving into third here with Ivanov in a vulnerable state. He's got Laubish up in front of him with 5 minutes left to go. This is the pressure point now for this battle for second, and it is all or nothing. No mistakes can be made here between this second to fifth positions, or else you will risk dropping out of this battle for second. It is now or never. And we can see Gael Valero, he's going to be getting slowly but surely onto the backside of the number 11 here of Ivanov, pushing on as much as he can. Ivanov's lost a little bit of slip there because of the distance to Laubish, but Valero's keeping it. You can see his time is coming down much faster than Ivanov's, and it's almost going to become a complete sandwich. But now Ivanov looks to the inside line. Is it going to be a dive? No, it's not. He remains in the same position to not jeopardize himself onto the exit. Grabowski has lost connection, I believe. He's down to 9th position, and he's losing out drastically. What has happened to Grabowski as well?
Yeah, what a shame for Grabowski late on in this race to just have that disconnection and put him out of the race at the moment. So Grabowski pretty much done in this one for now, and we'll hopefully get to see him back out there next week running just as strong as we know Grabowski can run. A quick, super quick driver in this series as well, so we'll hopefully see Grabowski out there. But yeah, like you say, Ivanov at the moment coming under a bit of pressure, while he's also still trying to mount that attack back on that of Nicholas Laubish as they head towards the Kemmel Straight once again, down towards the Com. Laubish defending the inside line. Ivanov looks to the outside, just like Laubish did to him. Can't get the move done there. Run a little compromise. This is bringing Valero and Boyshev back into this even more. DeSantis 6 seconds back, so I don't think it's going to bring DeSantis into this fight. But yeah, for sure, this is going to be an absolutely awesome battle for the next 4 and a bit minutes.
Yeah, I believe this is going to be our primary battle around. I do see Dunk is right on the backside of Jones as well. That's the battle for 16th. But it's only going to be one position gain. You can see he's right on the backside now, heading on the back straight. And it's two teammates that do not want to take each other out here in a bad move. But Dunk is right on the backside and looking to possibly dive on the inside. There's no defense there, but you can see playing it very safe between the two of them. They do not want to risk anything. And I believe that's how that's going to be. We might see the change now because Jones has gotten a yellow flag slowdown, but it's not going to be too crucial for that battle for 16th position. Neshev on the backside of Johnson. That's a battle for 10th. DeSantis now 6.5 seconds off of Boychev, but he does have Meats right on the backside. Same with Tyler Carr. That's going to be the battle for 6th position, and hopefully can also provide us a little bit of racing action. But the main eyes for the next 3 minutes is going to be on that battle for 2nd position. Laubish holding on strong. Unfortunately, 13 seconds behind Marley Joff at this current state in time. And this is also where we'll need to start posting some eyes on Marley Joff to see when he's going to come across the checkered flag line to start that white flag lap, as that is going to prove crucial to this battle. With just about 2.5 minutes left to go, about a 2 minute and 17 second lap time here around Spa-Francorchamps. And so we should still have one more lap after this current lap that Marley Joff has got a lead for.
Yeah, indeed, and what a job for Marley Joff. He might be able to slow down at the very end of this lap and just come across the line. We'll see where he is towards the very end and how long is left in this race before he does just that. But yeah, what a day of racing it has been here at Spa-Francorchamps between the amateur and the pro class. Two great races and two different races as well between them all, as we can see now once again Ivanov looking on the back now of Nicholas Laubish towards the Lecombe chicane once more, and this is Meets having a look up the inside of DeSantis, finally getting that run to be able to go up the inside line. Is he able to get the move done? No, yes he is. DeSantis losing out to Meets there, so Meets moving up another position, and these battles, the orange numbers, just starting to get closer and closer together as we filter our way through the field.
Yeah, it's lovely to see that coming closer towards each other with these final moments aboard. Just about a minute and 20 seconds left to go of racing. Obviously dependent on the race leader as towards where this comes across, but I do believe Marley Joff is still going to have to do another lap here, regardless of if he slows down for that whole 13 seconds. It's not going to be enough to close it off in this final lap, but Nicholas Laubish is going to have to work extremely hard. Ivanov is starting to become a little bit more aggressive behind there in the purple and white livery there of the Ford Mustang. Black flag for Dio Noreen. That's a drive-through, and the only drive-through so far of the Pro Series, and unfortunately goes to our AM champion, who just possibly, and I'm assuming because he hasn't really had too much contact other than the other, but it's probably going to be incident limit caused by track limits. And unfortunately for Dio Noreen, that is going to be, again, a drive-through right at the end of it, which is unfortunately going to add to his total time if he does not serve it now. But coming across the line, now we do see the battle for second with about 20 seconds left to go. Joff has already started the lap, so they'll be starting the white flag lap as of now.
Yep, so this means Laubish has got one more lap to try and fend off from Ivanov, Valero and Boyshev in this battle, who are nose to tail. As here goes Boyshev having a look at the inside of Valero in towards La Source for the final time. Doesn't get the momentum out the corner, so that just puts them two off of the back of Ivanov and Laubish just a little bit, while they have their own little battle at this moment in time, and that kind of gives Laubish a little bit more breathing space, knowing that he's only got to focus really on one car.
Yeah, definitely so. And I mean, you can see he's also increased it slightly now to Ivanov, who didn't get the best pull up a Rouge. You can see the squirming coming from Valero. He's trying to break the slip there from Boychev, but it might not be enough as he goes defensive on the inside line as they do try and close up towards Ivanov. Almost knows pace even, and he's lost it. No. And Boychev a little bit too much on the inside line there. I wonder if his nose was cut off by Valero. I couldn't see it from that angle, but he's lost out now. 3.5 seconds, and that's not enough time to gain. It's all up to Laubish now. Can he hold off Ivanov to keep second, or is Ivanov going to make the lunge of the century? It's lion versus lion, a gold versus purple. Who is going to come and take second behind Joff, who rounds up towards the ending of Sector 3 at the end of this 1 hour race, who has done a phenomenal job to keep his car ahead.
I did just wonder there, was there a few too many movements in the Boyshev Meets battle there? Was there a few too many defensive movements going in? And then definitely, I think, a bit of a nose chop off there. Was he alongside far enough? You could ask the question. But yeah, take nothing away from this man. Did everything he needed to do at the start of the race. And Marley Joff is going to come through for an absolutely awesome race win. He's been so dominant tonight, and he's going to continue where he left off last season. Marley Joff in the Corvette last time around was absolutely fantastic to win the championship quite comfortably in the end. And he starts as he means to go on. Marley Joff will win the first race of the league by Foxxtecca here at Spa-Francorchamps.
I almost thought he stopped before the checkered flag line. I was like, no, what are you doing?
Contact!
But
Valero! No. Valero and Laubish come together
it.
side by side. No, it was Ivanov, sorry, not Valero. It was Ivanov who's gone around.
Ivanov. What on earth has happened towards the end? Boychev doesn't catch him before the line, but Ivanov is going to be so upset about that. We have to see if that was contact or not, but there's even more as Neshev getting a little bit aggressive on the outside. No. My goodness, that's just dirty. A little bit dirty there coming from Neshev. He's just too aggressive trying to get ahead of Delasio, and he's going to get the position, but the stewards will have to review a couple of these last lap incidents. And my goodness, what an end to it. Please don't let the teammates now go into each other. Duncan Jones and they actually almost are going to go into each other. My goodness, what on earth is going on? Is there some kind of like spice that's been left on the track? Somebody slipped up somewhere. There's a little bit too much going on towards the end of this race here. Most of the drivers come out where they position, but a couple of bad spots coming towards the end that we did not expect.
Yeah, it leaves a sour taste, I think, at the end of this race on a few drivers there. They'll be disappointed to have lost out. Ivanov, we didn't see what happened. And then obviously we saw the other one at the end, which was just a little uncalled for. Soto down in 18th, Sierra 19th place with Hodge 20th, Johnson 21st. But yeah, what an epic race here that kind of got undone at the end. This is what happened then. So this is Ivanov with Laubish just in front of him. Gets an almighty run through Blanchimont into the bus stop chicane. It's an almighty dive from way back. Laubish stays ahead. A strange bit of contact to spin Ivanov around there, but Ivanov did come from a mile back and absolutely lunged.
Yeah, it looked like a little bit of contact between the two of them. It could be, I mean, in addition to that, the over-rotation of just going too sharp through bus stop. This dive, in my opinion, was just a little bit too far away. And then he just started coming out of the corner a little bit too aggressively. And Laubish was holding the left-hand side of the track. He did give the space. And Ivanov just trying to make a little bit too much of a distance gap in a short space of time. So I believe that one might just be looked at as a racing incident. I don't really think that one's going to be too much of a calling there. Obviously, a couple other ones that will be looked at coming towards the end of this race. But that is officially it. Round number 1. Done and dusted for the AMs and the pros, and I've got to say we did not disappoint. Marley Joff, though, the winner by almost 15 seconds, followed by Nicholas Laubish. Gael Valero gets third after Gabriel Ivanov's spin, moves down to fourth. Ivalo Boyshev down to fifth, with Rodrigo Meets getting sixth. Rafael DeSantis down to seventh. Tyler Carr, eighth. David Toth, 9. Yo Neshev down 10th. 11th for Luigi Delasio. 12th for Elon Johnson. Rosalini Matisse takes 13th. Kevin Roll, 14th. Eric Hulsban down 15th. Walter Dunk, down 16th. Gabriel Jones, 17th. Russell Soto down 18th. Javier Sierra, 19th, with Justin Hodge in 20th. Juliet Johnson, Maya Dianarine down 22nd. Anthony Cuthbert, 23rd. Ed Eisenring, 24th. Dennis Grabowski down 5th, unfortunately, with the disconnect. Ariel Julian, 26th. Andrea Mascalino, also the disconnect, down 27th. And then Ty Dunnett, rounding off the 28-car grid in 28th position.
Yeah, and what an absolutely epic battle that was throughout the entire 2 races of AM and Pro. We have got 2 drivers sat waiting in the interview waiting area, so let's bring in now the first of our 2 drivers. It's Evan Davis, who we brought into the commentary box, the AM winner for this evening. Evan, welcome you live on the league by Foxxtecca. First of all, congratulations on the race win, an absolutely fantastic performance.
Thank you, appreciate it. It was a good start to the season, good way to build confidence.
You got the start done pretty comfortably. You managed to pull out a good gap, but the round of pit stop saw Rossell get onto the back of you for a little bit. Was you concerned that he may have done the overcut to perfection?
Yeah, he definitely saved a couple seconds on the fuel, and I wonder if he kept the same set of tires, because I took new tires and I lost about 3 seconds on that outlap. So I'm glad I was able to get past him on the exit and hold on to it.
Yeah, you did the job after the pit stops, didn't you? You managed to pull away and build that gap in this one. We head to Algarve, Portimao next week. What can you do around there?
We'll see. I felt really comfortable at Spa. I think it's one of my best tracks. So I think it'll be a lot closer next time around.
And finally tonight, anybody you'd like to thank?
My friends, my family, tuning in, supporting me. It was great to have their support.
Well, brilliant. Evan, congratulations. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Thank you.
We've got Marley Joff as well, Tristan. I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, Marley Joff coming in, and 15 seconds of a gap. Marley, did you even differentiate season 2 to season number 3? I think your only difference is the difference of car. I mean, just talk us through tonight. I think there was nothing that could have gone better for you tonight.
No, it really couldn't have. The craziness at the start helped. It meant that I can get the gap and get out the slipstream, which is the most important thing around here. And then, it just cleared off after that. I'm a bit disappointed that there was a few drivers that had difficulties of quali. Gail Valero and David Toff. They both had DCs during quali, and I think they would have been slightly closer tonight. But regardless, yeah, as you said, like it went perfectly, and I'm super glad it went that way.
Yeah, David Todd also receiving a bit of a tap there during the mid sector of the race, which also set him a little bit further back. But I do agree with you; it could have been a good competition up there for first. But for tonight, you do indeed take that victory out by storm. Talk us a little bit through the pit strategy. I believe we had a couple of conversations from the AM with maybe a couple of drivers changing out tires. What was the feels there with the purely dominant Ford Mustang grid? How did the car feel?
It felt great. Like it's. As you can see by the Pro Grid, it's probably the only viable car, really, if you want to be competing at the front, which is a shame because, like, just like last season, I wanted to go with something different, right? But I think the closest car is maybe 3 tenths back on pace, so it's clearly ahead. Yeah, in terms of the tyres, it was definitely better to go with 2 lefts in this race. The rear left especially got very, very hot during the stint, and even towards the end of the half an hour stint, it would start sliding around quite a lot. So you'd take the pain for 1 lap, you'd lose a second, but then you'd be going very well after that.
Incredible stuff. And then, I mean, next week for round number 2, we do indeed head to Portimao, Algarve. How do you feel about that in the Mustang?
I'm not sure. I haven't got too much experience around Algarve, but it's a fun track, and I do data packs for my coaching company, and I've done a few laps around Algarve before, so it's not like I don't know my way around there. But we'll see. I think it'll be a bit more competitive around there than we saw tonight.
And then just a quick question, because we can't remember quite exactly. Is WSR Esports a new team coming into season number 3, or were you with them as well for season 2?
No, yes, it is. It's a brand new team for me. I'm very, very grateful that they accepted me into their family, and I'm glad to be bringing the results straight away.
Incredible stuff. Well, I mean, on that note, before we close off, is there anybody you'd like to thank or mention before we head out for the night?
Well, just as I've done there, WSR Esports, I want to thank them very much. And Sim Coach as well. That's the company I'm part of. I do coaching on there. So if you want to get some one-to-one time with me or even some weekly group sessions, you can come on board and check us out. And also, I want to give a shout out to Troy Anderson and Dan Gorbatenko. They are 2 students of mine, and I think they were both in the AM race tonight. And yeah, they were going strong. So big shout out to them. Keep pushing, lads. And yeah, hopefully we'll push on for better things next round.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Well, thank you so much for joining us in the commentary box here for tonight. We hope to see you next week again after the series of racing events. Have an absolutely fantastic night and enjoy the celebrations with the team.
You too. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Take care.
It was Marley Joff joining us in the commentary box. What a great guy and what a great win.
Yeah, what a great guy and what a great win. That rounds out then the proceedings here at Spa-Francorchamps for the opening round of Season 3 here by the league by Foxxtecca in what has been a fantastic night here in Belgium. We stay European side for next week. We head to Portugal for the Portimao race in Algarve. Make sure you join myself and Tristan in the commentary box for that one. Same time next week, as well as a big thank you to our producer Jim Cunningham for bringing you once again the fantastic images and replays that you've seen out there on the circuit tonight. Can't do this without him in the box. Tristan, pleasure as always.
Absolutely. What a fantastic night we had, and we'll see you guys next week for Portimao.